good morning to my online students as well. How are you guys doing? You didn't come yesterday. Everything okay? First lecture? Okay, welcome to the class. So you meet me after the class. I'll tell you how to compensate for the lectures that you have lost. You haven't lost too much, so I think it is manageable. All right, guys. So yesterday we started something interesting that is related to data. Today we'll continue, and hopefully, oh, to write an article, very nice, related to NSC. See, now you will start to identify these things in the newspaper, and your mind will automatically have a connect with it. By the way, did you watch that half an hour, 40 minutes of session? How many of you watched? Only you? Did you make some notes? How to use your? Did you watch anybody from online? You also watched? Very nice. Good. So could you gather some points about how to use newspaper to make notes in other subjects? Economics we don't require because we are doing it in the class. And you would have seen the style of teaching that, okay, yes, we are covering most of the things. Had class at that time. Okay, no problem. Manas, what you can do is you can watch the recorded video, but you will get a lot of ideas that how to handle a newspaper article and make very crisp notes, how to integrate it with your preparation of static areas. Watch it. You were there? Yes, Pankaj, I remember you were there. Yes, you were texting also at that time. You were typing some messages there also. Wonderful, wonderful. Very nice. So I'll hold another such session, maybe in some time, maybe in 10 days. So that might be a slightly longer session. So if you feel like, you definitely attend. So today let's start. Please write a question. Okay, please write a question. Discuss. Very important question. Discuss the methods to measure, discuss the methods to measure industrial performance. Industrial performance. Methods to measure industrial performance. Is right. Industrial performance can be measured. Industrial performance can be measured. We are doing this. Industrial performance can be measured using multi-dimensional approach. Multi-dimensional approach. Like Number A, we can measure the performance. We can measure the performance of a particular sector, based on the output. Based on the output. Number B, we can also measure the performance. We can also measure the performance based on the availability of inputs and other conditions before the production has started. Before the production has started. Third, C. Performance can also be measured. Performance can also be measured. Performance can also be measured by selecting group of industries for a general survey. All cool? So what are we doing? I'll tell you. So what we are doing is, suppose there are these two industries, these three, let's say. These are the three industries, right? This is one of the easiest topics that you will find in the entire module, I'm telling you this. So, if you find this topic to be super easy, you understand that this is the only topic which is easy like this. Otherwise, all other topics will have some bigger concepts, some facts, etc. But this topic is super easy and flat. But only problem with this topic is that it is very subtle in nature. So, for example, a lot of questions can be created and trick questions can be created. So, for example, let's say that I have to ask you, or I have to judge, make a value judgment about what your performance is as a student. So what will I do? How do I judge if you are performing well or not? 2-3 things are there. First, I'll roam around and I will randomly ask some questions to, let's say, some questions to my online students, some questions to offline students. But I will not ask the question to all of you. I will simply go roam around, select somebody randomly, okay, 1, 2, 3, inky, pinky, ponky, you, something like this. Which means I select a sample, some from online, some from offline. And then I make a value, very generic in nature. That's very generic. It doesn't tell me the conditions. It simply tells me that, okay, if a handful of students have not performed well, I will create a very negative value judgment. And if 4 or 5 students have performed very well, I'll see, wow, the entire batch is doing well, despite the fact that this is her first lecture. How can I judge her? But I will still judge her based on the fact that I'll ask question to you and to online, and I'll make a judgment everybody's understanding. Despite the fact that somebody might be a new joinee. Right? It might take time to understand the subject. So very bad kind of judgment can happen, but nevertheless, it is one of the methods, generic methods. Generic things are not good and bad. The purpose of generic things is that since you don't have much time or resources, or maybe you are in hurry, then you use generic approach. But if you have some time, what will I do? I'll tell you. So what I'll do is I'll take a test. When the entire industry is complete, which will be complete today, after that I'll take a test. In that test, I will ask you MCQs. In the test, I'll ask you a full-length question related to mains also. And then when I start to evaluate the answer, I will start to see how your performance is, which means I'm looking at output now. So one of the ways is to move away from generic approaches. I directly take a test, I ask you to perform, and when I have the output ready in front of me, what is your output? Your output is your answer. Then I look at your answer, and based on that, I'll make a value judgment that what is the performance of my student in last, let's say, 10-15 days. That's one method. There is another method. So you guys understand one rule of life. If input is not that great, obviously output will be a problem, right? So whatever happens on this side of the class also decides what will happen on that side of the class, right? So he's so innocent. He nodded 5 times. He said, absolutely, you are the reason. All right. So what I'll do is before I take the test, I'll call all of you. I'll make a phone call to all of you and I'll ask you a question that, is your preparation going on well? Are you able to understand the notes? So I have announced a test date, but I'm not going to test. Before the test, I'll call you that, do you have the notes? Have you missed the class? Are you understanding the literature? Are you highlighting your notes? Are you having good command over the entire topic? Are you able to memorize everything? These are the questions I'll ask you. And then I'll ask you, what is your expectation? That if I ask you a question, will you be able to answer? Are you comfortable with MCQ style? These are the things I will ask you. So I'll ask you 10 questions, and based on that, I will make a value judgment about the level of your preparation. Because whatever is your level of preparation or input, based on that only output will be created. So before the test only, suppose you are saying, I hate appearing in MCQs. Obviously, even if you are good in it, you will not perform well because you have started with the word hate. And suppose you really don't like MCQs, but you are telling me, I'll try my best because I want to do well in the exam. Even if you are bad in MCQ, you will do well. So I will make a phone call to you and I'll keep on asking you how your performance is, how you are doing, what's your expectation. So that is from the input side before the production has started. So I told you 3 methods of measuring the performance. The first method is that you do a generic survey. You go and roam around and ask people, hey, how are you? How are your industry doing? Etc., right? So how about electricity? Are you getting electricity in your factory? Basic things. And then asking that how many people are working in your factory. This will give me a very generic idea. What kind of factory is this? Is this factory having labor, having electricity, having all the facilities? Very generic. Right. So when you don't have time, you don't want to follow the, very technologically rich kind of methods of measuring the performance. Just simply roam around and keep asking questions to factories. That's simply roaming around and asking the factories, hey, how are you doing? It is called as, so we go to this factory and simply ask a question. That is called as annual survey of industries. So the meaning of annual survey of industries is annually, every year, you roam around when you have some free time and keep asking them, hey, how are you doing? And whatever answer they'll tell you, keep writing it. And then in one or two questions, just tell them, show me the papers. So what is the first question that you'll ask somebody if you roam around normally to a factory? You will ask them, so are you registered? And how will you ask them if they are registered? Matlab, there must be method of registration, 3 methods of registration. So when we got independent, so after that there was one act which was passed by the government of India called as Factories Act 1948. So any industry which wanted to become registered had to follow whatever points were mentioned in that act. For example, you need to have a certain space in your factory. You need to have electricity. You need to have, if you don't have electricity, then without electricity, if you are producing, then you need to have more number of workers. So certain standards had to be maintained. And if you are having workers, you have to pay minimum wages to them. Under the Factory Act, all these things were mentioned. That if you are saying, I am a manufacturer, you cannot give services. If you are saying, I am providing service, so for example, I am an accountant, you cannot produce goods. If you want to do both, then you create separate factories. This is how it was mentioned. So Factories Act had everything inside it, that what is a factory, what is the space required, you know, how many people should work, what should be the minimum wages, how many hours should you make your workers work. So it was mentioned, for example, 10 hours. And if you make them work for 11 hours, you have to pay either extra salary or you will be punished. These things were mentioned. 1948. I am giving you a very generic idea. Because this initial discussion, what we do in a particular topic when we started, this gives the entire idea of the topic. Later on, the only filling of details. This is the most important part. So what is happening? You are going to factories randomly 1 year and you are asking them, so how are you doing? How many workers? Blah, blah, all this. That is called annual survey of industries. So 1948. And I have noticed that, and I have praised you for this in the past as well, that your memory is sharp, online and offline. So this time, I am trying to see if you are able to collect and able to recall these facts which I am telling you verbally after 10 minutes. So in 10 minutes I'll speak and then I'll ask you a question. I want to see if you are maintaining your sharp memory that you showed in the first few lectures or not, right? One has to be agile all the time. Right? That's the beauty of this competitive examination. So please listen to the words very, very carefully. Expressions, words, names that I am taking, and I'll ask you questions. And uske baad I'll show you the details. So what did I tell you? Which act? Factories Act of what? 1948. So if you are new, for example, after independence, you want to open a factory, Factories Act 1948. Now, but then Government of India realized that Factories Act is not good enough. With time we evolve, isn't it? So in 1946, we decided that since the society and economy is getting complicated and sophisticated, so we created something else called as Companies Act 1956. So when Companies Act was created, the name says Companies Act, which means what are the various type of companies that can be created in India, a list was given. So for example, let's say that I am an individual, I am not getting any partner, so I will start a company on my own called as one-person company. But if you open a one-person company, you will have to fill forms, go to this ministry, that ministry. I find it very difficult. So what is the easy way of opening a company? I'll tell you. And this was mentioned for the first time there in the Companies Act. What's the easy way of opening a company? Even I'll tell you a more easy way. So what you need to do is go to a bank, open a current account. Just go to a normal bank, any bank you feel like, open a current account. Now go to Sadar Bazaar or Daryaganj or Karol Bagh or Chandni Chowk. And from there, you buy some pens like this. Then you come here in this area, Rajendra Nagar. You sell it to somebody. You are a proprietor. So proprietor is the most form of a company where you just need to open a company account called as current, not company account, your account. You just need to open a current account and you start to sell, produce, give service, whatever you feel like, and you are a proprietor. That's the easiest way of opening a company. Why do people prefer proprietor? Maybe I'm not able to find a partner. Maybe I don't have big assets or big dreams. I just want to be a normal producer for some time or trader for some time. That's one of those. Another reason for being a proprietor is when you become a proprietor, the paperwork is not complicated. Nobody will come and ask you labor laws. I am the labor, I am the boss, I am the vice president. Hota hai na aajkal startups. There are many startups. If you ask somebody that where are you working, they'll tell you startups. Then ask them, what are you doing? They'll tell you vice president. Later on, you'll get to know that he or she is the only person working in that company, right? So I'm everything of the company. Call me vice president, call me accountant, call me anything. I mean, that's how the startup grows, right? It has happened. I've seen this in my life. I have asked people questions. So what are you doing these days? And people have told me, startup. And I asked them, what do you do in that startup? So one day they will tell me, another day they will tell me that I'm only the security in charge. Third day they will say that I'm making tea also there. How many people? He said, I'm the only one. I said, wonderful. What kind of startup is this? So the person says, it's proprietorship. I said, wow. So guys, this is also one form of company. So based on your end goal, you decide to open various type of. This is complicated. So complicated things require some rules. So where are all these rules mentioned? Companies Act 1956. A big change happened in Companies Act over a period of time. Like every 5-6 years, some changes used to happen. 2013 is when the biggest change happened in the Companies Act. Big changes happened there. 2013. After 2013, 2016. After 16, 2019. After 29, 2020. After 2020, 2022. And recently in 2023. You don't need to memorize. But what are the goalposts that you will memorize? 1956, big changes. 2013, super big changes. And then 2022, 2023, incremental changes. These are the things that we have to memorize for now. Now, after the Companies Act came, the companies which were established in India after 1956, they had two options. Either you follow the old system was Factories Act 1948, complicated, not very clear, or the new system called as Companies Act, where more type of companies were mentioned. Things were more systematic because it was designed for the new age. So what happened in India, companies had to select, I want to go there or I want to go there. So which means that if I am the government of India and I have to find out where are my registered companies, I need two lists. One list will be list of companies under Factories Act, another will be list of companies under 1956. Companies Act 1956 or Factories Act 1948. Are you understanding this point? Third, there were some companies, Government of India said, boss, you are a very special type of company, right? Because Indians love you. So you don't need to register under Factories Act or Companies Act. Even if you inform us that you are operating, we'll consider you to be registered. Example, cigars, right? Cigarettes, cigars, all these things. You understand these good things, like life-enhancing materials. So these are sin goods, basically, and electricity units. So if you are into the business of cigar, how many of you are imagining cigars? I can look at you, you are imagining cigars, some of you. So cigars, cigarettes, electricity units, if you are into these kind of things, government says, don't need to register anywhere. You are anyway doing great service to the society. So, right, so just tell us what you are doing and we will consider you to trade. So three types of registrations are there. The first one is Factories Act 1948, second is Companies Act, and third is for cigarettes as well as electric power producing plants. Government says you are very specific, you are producing electricity. You don't need to go under Factories Act, Companies Act, you're just giving power unique in itself. Electricity is very unique kind of thing because without electricity, nothing can work. So electricity is an input in almost everything. So I said, let's do this, okay. Now, no, not now. So if I feel that the type of companies will also be required for UPSC preparation, like last year I didn't feel it, that it is required that you should know various types of companies. So I didn't give any lecture on this. This year I'm making a reference to it. In future, in course of your next 4 months, if I feel, based on the newspaper, current affairs, government policies, because when we read newspaper, no, it's like reading government's mind. So when we read newspaper, being from this subject, similarly, if somebody is from sciences and they are reading science-related news, they will get to know what government is thinking for science. We get these intuitions. So when we read this newspaper for next 3 months, 4 months, if I feel and when I feel that no, type of company is also required, I'll give you half an hour session on that as well. It won't take more than half an hour because half of it I already told you. I just need to make you write a few things and it will be done. So let me see if I feel it is important or not, because that's what you do when you do chartered accountancy, etc. If I feel it's important, I'll definitely tell you that. For now, basic things. Chaliye, test time. So online and offline, please tell me, what are the 3 ways registrations happen in India in general? Which act? Which year? Second, 1956, big change happened. Incremental change happened. And what are some examples of no registration under specific things? Cigars, electricity, power production. Awesome. So if I have to do annual survey of industries, what are the lists that I will open? 2 lists or 3 lists? 3 lists. First is Factories Act. Second, Company Act. Third, cigarette, cigar, miscellaneous. Cigarette, cigars and electricity. These are the 3 things I will do. So is the government doing it actually? Kar rahi hai na government. Government is doing that. Let me show you that. That's your result from the annual survey of industries. This was easy part. Now some fillers have to be mentioned, and that's your current affairs. This is your theory part. That's your current affairs. Why is it important? I have seen UPSC asking questions from there. So see, what is this annual survey of industries? Who conducts the survey? NSO. There you go. Right? See the importance. NSO. And now, are you able to sit from here? Sit somewhere there. Idhar bhi kahin bhi you can sit, because you will find problem. So NSO, and this is yearly. Well, name is annual survey of industry. It has to be yearly.
This meeting is being recorded.
Generic survey is not specific. All right, these are I'll make you write all this. Are you understanding the gravity now? Every word is a potential question here. It's easy but full of information. Now look at this. Factories Act 1948. So when annual survey of industries, which is NSO, goes for the survey, they will ask you 2 questions, and it is fixed. It doesn't change. It was created in 1948. This became outdated. It is so outdated that the Companies Act said, I will not follow this definition. For that time it was okay, but times have changed. So now what is the definition under Factories Act 1948? That if you are a factory with electricity having more than or equal to 10 workers, so 10 people are working, plus you have electricity. At that time, electricity connection used to be a premium commodity. You used to be very elite person if you have electricity connection. Even now in some villages, if you go and have electricity, they will consider you to be premium. They will make you sarpanch of the village. They will say, you have electricity, you are my sarpanch, you are my god. I am telling you this. So landline phone, electricity connection, these used to be the hallmark of people with a lot of power at that time. So 10 or more than 10 workers plus electricity, that's the first industry which is surveyed. They definitely go to such industry and ask them, hey, how are you doing? And second is, if you do not have electricity, but you have 20 or more than 20 workers, then they will come to you for the survey. Why don't they go to those people with less than 10 workers? They say that they are not contributing. So according to annual survey of industries, they are saying significant contribution will come when you have little more workers. And what is the standard of workers they have kept? Around 10. So they are saying unless you have at least 10 workers, according to us, you are insignificant. So they are saying I will not come to you. It doesn't mean that those industries are not performing. But I told you that if they do the survey in every chotu industry, it will cost them time, it will cost them money. Because somebody has to go there and do the survey, it costs resources to the country. So they say that no, unless you have 10 workers with electricity or 20 workers without electricity, I will not come into your factory, you do whatever you are doing. Because for country you are important, but your contribution is not so big that I will come to you every day. So we select a sample. Why don't we go to everyone? I told you because we don't want to use too much resources. We don't want to spend too much time. So we are only picking up the significant players. Why 10? Why not 11? This question I asked to almost every batch whenever this number 10 comes in any context in economics. Because I learned it very late in my life. My professors didn't used to answer this question. They used to avoid it. So I did. So whenever you ask a question and somebody avoids, you feel like knowing it more. Right? So I know how you feel sometimes. So I used to feel the same. But did a bit of research, found out from here, there, so many people, and later on I got to know, acha, this is the thing. Amazing. So, what is the reason for this 10? The reason for the, and guess where I got the answer of this 10? Not in economics. I got the answer of this 10 in MBA. That why 10? So, yes. But why 10? Your friend is saying 10 is the minimum number of workers for organized. No, 10 is not the minimum number of workers for organized. 10 is the number of workers where survey is done. If you are registered under Factory Act, you are organized. But survey will not be done if you have less than 10 workers. I told you because you are not significant. Why 10? Why not 11? I'll tell you. And you'll laugh at it. You'll say, come on, sir, don't lie. So the reason is that 10 is the first two-digit number. Hence, it is considered to be significant. So 10 is the first two-digit number. So they say from one digit you become two-digit. So you are significant. Hence, you are special. Now, where else do we use it? Foreign investment. If somebody buys, listen to it very carefully. I'll teach you this in foreign investment. When somebody buys 9% ownership in my company, I'll say, come on, you are not interested. But the moment somebody buys 10% shares or 10% ownership in my company, I'll say, oh, wow, you bought 10%. You are my foreign direct investment, FDI. See the difference? Why 10%? Why not 9.99%? Because 10 is the first two-digit number, hence we consider it to be significant. So keep these things in mind, it will help you. Many times I used to wonder, what is so special about 10? Why the entire world keeps 10, 100, 10, 100? Why 100? Many a times, because first three-digit number. This is weird, absolutely weird thing. But this is how the world goes. They'll select some milestones and they'll say, if you achieve this, yes, bingo, you have done well. So if somebody, initially, when you meet somebody and they call you for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, that's very temporary because this can stop anytime. But the moment somebody hits 10 minutes with you consistently over the phone call, that, how are you doing, blah, 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 all this, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 12 minutes, then you should feel that stability has come. Are you understanding this? All fine? Right? Don't ask me more on this. Right? Don't ask me how do I know all these things. Current affairs. I read this in newspaper. Right? So, more than 10 workers with electricity, more than 20 workers with power, they do the survey. Now, let's look at the second part. Ab dekho. But I told you that when Companies Act came, people said, no, this we don't understand. What is this 10, more than 10, power, no power, etc. It's very complicated. So people said, we don't understand what you are saying, government. You are very complicated. 1948, we were complicated. 1956, we got this. What is this? Companies Act or Shops and Establishment Act. Suppose that I open a cafe. I'll tell you the jugaad. In 1956, Companies Act came. Nobody understood what is Companies Act. Even the government also did not understand. They just got out Companies Act. They copied, they got inspired from here, few countries. They created a nice Companies Act. They said, people follow. Or a person like me who is simply selling tea outside the college, outside the school, outside, big malls, outside big trading centers, I just used to sell tea. The government used to come to me and tell me, beta, are you registered in the Factories Act? I'll say, what factory? The government used to say, are you understanding what is Companies Act? I don't know what is Companies Act. And then I open a tea shop. So local authorities used to come to me and ask me, are you organized? I said, what is organized? So then they said, hold on, for you, let me make your life easy because anyway, you are not doing anything big. I said, what do you mean I'm not? I'm making tea for everyone. They said, to respect you, there is something called Shops and Establishment Act. So if you are owning a shop, just follow some rules that what should be the area, there should be one exit point, there doors, there should be, where should you place the gas stove. These kind of things were mentioned under Shops and Establishment Act. And if you have opened a shop and you have said, I'm selling tea, you can't convert that shop into a hotel and say people will sleep also here, drink tea and then leave. No, you can't do that. Right. So if it is shop for tea, it has to be shop for tea. So where do you register? Shops and Establishment Act. All chotu, small acts came after 1956 to simplify things. Because not everybody wants to become Tatas. There are people who want to do different kind of business. So anybody who is not registered under this, they will register. See, factories not registered but under this act, but under other acts like Companies Act, Shops and Establishment Act. So this NSO has another list. This list contains those factories which are registered under Companies Act or Shops and Establishment Act, but this NSO says, I will not go to any such factory if they have less than 100 workers. Unless such factories like Shops and Establishment or this Companies Act, unless you have at least 100 workers, I feel that you are insignificant. Wow. So what are you understanding from this? What kind of survey is this? This is very generic survey. Because if you actually want to do the survey, I told you what is the number of MSMEs in India, total number of MSMEs, 6.3 crores. This is only MSME. Those which we know. Now imagine the MSMEs which we don't know because they are hiding somewhere. If you add everything, it becomes almost like 8 to 10 crore MSMEs or shops, etc. 10 crore. Now can you imagine that on yearly basis? You are suppose a very senior IAS officer working in MOSPI, you can go to 10 crore people registered somewhere and do a survey. Will you be able to complete it in 365 days and give the result? Highly impossible. That's why what do? We select a rule so that we don't select insignificant players. We leave them, we tell them you are important, but for survey I will not pick you. So for example, I'll tell you what. So let's say that I have to do a survey today to find whether you are understanding economics or not. Whom will I leave in the class? Who is insignificant for me? Anybody who joined the class today or yesterday. I will not ask you the question. Reason being that it's just your first or second lecture. You take time to settle down. It takes at least 3-4 lectures to understand what is going on around me, isn't it? Abhi, you will feel very lost. I'm telling you this. If this is your first lecture, like he's feeling lost despite the fact it's not his first lecture. He's feeling completely lost. Come back. I'm kidding. Right? So many times what happens is we feel everybody is important. But why not significant? Because we don't have the resources to go and talk to you all the day. So you are a factory, I know, but sorry, I can't pick you because I don't have the resources. I am not a developed country. I'm a developing country. I don't have data. I don't know where you are. 10 crore factories, how will I cover? So what is the Jugaad government found? If you have more than 100 workers, I'll come to you because I know that your contribution in production is this size. Which principle are we using? Significance. If you are significant, we'll come to you. If you are less significant, for some time, we'll ignore you. This is what they are doing. And I told you the reason, resources and time. We don't have that. And it's a big country. So, but imagine if we are Bangladesh or we are Sri Lanka, are we going to leave everyone? Chotu country. How can you leave everyone? So what is the standard in those countries? If there are more than 20 workers in those countries, they do the survey. So the country is very small, no? Sri Lanka is just like Karol Bagh area. Right, so if your size is that of, Karol Bagh metro station or CP metro station, look at the number of people crossing this metro station every year. That is greater than population of Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, right? So more than 100 workers, big country. And last part is this. So bidi, cigars, electricity, don't ask me what are all this, so Google kar lena. Right, so if you have registered this with the government saying that I am preparing manufacturing sin goods, to do great service to the society, like these two, plus electricity. Government of India says, beta, you are so special that you don't need to register anywhere. Very fact that you exist, it's a great service to the country. We recognize your contribution for nation building. Fine? Don't become their victim, I'm telling you this. These are the 3 places where they go for the survey. Okay, fine. What is the result? What is going on? That's the result. So the last survey result belongs to 2022-23. Because I told you, 24th is running, they can't do the survey. And interestingly, let me tell you the interesting thing. The 2023 survey which happened, its result is not out. Its result is incomplete for some reason because it takes time to manage the data. So we all need some time to manage. So 2023 data, some policymakers are still managing it. We'll get to know it later. This is 2022. All the data has been properly managed. So what is this? Number of factories. What is this result? See this. This is 2022 result with respect to 2021. This is the performance. So we are comparing 2022 with 21 because that's the latest available. So in 2022, bacho, this is important. In 2022, the number of factories increased and finally we have 2.46 lakh such factories which fulfill this criteria. So the number of factories under this annual survey of industry, according to these three criteria, the number of factories are 2.46. So there are 2.46 lakh factories in India which fulfill these criteria. That's number, which means they are making significant contributions. The word is significant. There are other factories also, but they say contribution is not significant. That's one. Second, how many people are working in these factories? 1.3 crores. Wow, I have the data now. So if somebody will ask me that, what is the number of organized sector employment in India in factories, in registered sections, which make significant contribution? 1.3 crore workers. So I automatically know at least guaranteed 1.3 crore workers are to organized because they belong to this. So 1.3 crore workers are working in these number of factories which are making significant contribution. Now number two is this. So which state of India has the highest employment in organized sector which is making significant contribution? So Tamil Nadu is number one. Remember, Tamil Nadu has a culture of manufacturing. We discussed it. So Tamil Nadu, yes. Tamil Nadu is number one. Number two is Maharashtra. They also have culture of heavy manufacturing. Go to Pune area, go to any area of Maharashtra, you will find this. And then you have Gujarat, again culture of manufacturing. So yeah, these two are geographically very close. That belt has been known to be manufacturers since ages. And Tamil Nadu has created that base for itself. Now you have Andhra and Telangana also joining the list. Right? And UP is also coming big way. So I think in future this list will change. And this list will have more states. I am sure I can guarantee you that Andhra, Telangana, UP, at least these three states I can clearly see here in future in next 5 years. Now, yes. And after that, I feel that some other states of India which are taking some pioneering action, they will also join. But three states that are there in my mind which definitely will join if the survey is done correctly and with honesty. I believe Andhra, Telangana and UP, they have to figure here because they have really improved and base effect is also working. So I think they will come, but let's see. Or maybe there is one problem because of which I was expecting UP here since 2022. The reason that UP is not here is because either the factory size is small, they are not significant, they are opening small factories which is not covered here, or they have opened factories, they are not registering themselves. They are calling themselves, I'll produce, but they are not telling who they are. So I think either of these two, because UP has so many factories, it should have been there. By sheer size, it should have been there. Because when the central government and Niti Aayog, they give ranking to the states that which states of India are performing very well in terms of ease of doing business. Number one state is UP since last 3 years. In terms of ease of doing business, that's number one. So where is that? Because ease of doing business would mean factories are coming. That's why there is ease of doing business. Why will you create ease of doing business without factory? Some garbad is there, something is there. So I believe that either they are not registering or their size is small. And why do you create small size? To take more government benefits. That's why you create small size factories. So something is happening there. We need data. So one of the problems I told you with the government is, which binds my hands also, even if I want to speak more, I can't. The reason that data is not available. This is such a limitation that even if I want to speak a few things, but how do I speak? Because there is one thing which I wanted to speak. What about the factories with less than 10 workers and electricity? I don't know, because there is no proper data for that. And they say, sorry, data incomplete, we have not been able to do survey, etc. Their hands are tied. And if you ask me that which state of India has more factories where number of workers is less than 10 plus electricity, I don't know. Because that data transparency is not there. Similarly, if you ask me that, sir, how many farmers are there who do not own land in India or own such insignificant amount of land that you cannot consider them as landlords? I don't have the figures. So there is some rough figure here and there, but I simply don't understand why the government of India does not do these kind of proper surveys, and government says it's very costly to do the survey, I will not do it. But these are the surveys which are required to make the small ones big in life. But sadly, that is missing. That's why I use the word manipulation and management, etc., etc. Just on a lighter note to tell you that kuch to gadbad hai, there is something which we don't know. All right. So, pehle tell me, did you understand this?
If the factory has 90 workers, then if they are not registered in factory side, then they will not do survey.
They will not do survey, and they will call you as unorganized sector.
So if the factory has 90 workers and they are registered under factory act,
then they will call. So that's the limitation. That's why it is outdated. Chale, please write. So let's write. Let's see how to make notes. So please write number 1, Annual Survey of Industries. Give a title, please. Annual Survey of Industries. And you are my students. From today, you should understand one thing. You should clearly understand that this survey is being done in those organized sectors which make significant contribution. Because even if you have less than 100 workers, you have 99 workers, you will not be covered under this survey. But does that mean that you don't exist? Of course you exist. You have registered yourself also. But survey will not be done. So it says Annual Survey of Industries, but it hides one thing. It should have clearly mentioned, and that's why transparency is a problem, that according to this survey, I'm going to that organized sector which is significant according to the government. That word significant is hidden. I don't know why. So please write Annual Survey of Industries. Please write. Pehle likho. Annual Survey of Industries. Please write, guys. Likhe that ASI is conducted on yearly basis. ASI is conducted on yearly basis by NSO. Full stop. I will tell you what to write in data book in some time, but pehle let's make notes. In between, I will tell you that open your data book and write this. So ASI, what did you write? ASI on yearly basis by NSO, full stop. ASI only covers organized sector. The coverage of ASI is as follows. The coverage of ASI is as follows. Number 1, Factories Act 1948. Factories Act 1948. Please write. Under it, two types of industries are covered. Two types of industries are covered. Number A, greater than equal to 10 workers with power. Power is electricity. Greater than equal to 10 workers with electricity or power. You have to memorize this, okay, guys? And number B, greater than equal to 20 workers, without electricity. You know, in the entire economics that I used to learn initially, I used to keep asking this question to everyone also. Everyone I used to ask this question. That, okay, you are saying greater than equal to 10 workers with power. Tell me, what about those factories who have electricity but 9 workers? Then they used to tell me, I simply understand that it is not covered. I used to say, why it is not covered? They used to say, it is not covered, so not covered. I mean, nobody was telling me that having 9 workers with power is also organized, but the problem is they don't consider you significant. Simple. Best of books don't mention this word, and they keep you in between only think, it is not there, so it is not there. What kind of answer is this? It is not there, so it is not there. So we will understand this in our mind. You also don't write it in your notebook. Let people read your answer and get confused. Right? And then they will call you, tell you, beta batao, just tell us what is this. Second, please write greater than equal to 10 workers without power. Greater than equal to, 20 workers without power. Greater than equal to 20 workers without power. Now please write number 2. Factories not registered. Factories not registered under Factories Act. Factories not registered under Factories Act, but under other acts. But under other acts. Like the Companies Act. Like the Companies Act. Comma. Shops and Establishment Act. Shops and Establishment Act. And so on. And so on. If such factories have, please write under it, put a star and write, if such factories have greater than equal to 100 workers, if such factories have greater than equal to 100 workers, they are covered under ASI. They are covered under ASI, Annual Survey of Industries. Third, please write registered BD cigar manufacturers, registered BD cigar manufacturers, comma, electricity units, means power companies. BD cigar manufacturers, electricity units, put a dash, are also covered under ASI. Are also covered under ASI. Doesn't matter. We'll see that when we do employment and unemployment, because the definition of, we are not doing today organized and unorganized. Today we are doing survey. So according to survey, this is the definition. But when we do employment, there we will see that the definition of organized and unorganized is different, but not for this topic. It's different. That's why I'm using the word significant. And I myself made it very clear that anybody having 9 workers with electricity, that is also organized, but not covered under the survey, which means the definition of organized, unorganized as per Government of India will not be this. This is only for the purpose of survey. So that's for another topic. So please write the findings. Please write findings. Your friend is asking why BD and cigars are covered in the survey. Because we are one of the largest consumers of BD and cigar. It affects us. And it increases India's GDP also. So don't get into all this. Please write the result of the survey. Result of the survey. Okay. Number 1. In 2022, the number of factories increased. Number of factories increased compared to 2021. Compared to 2021. Second point. Around 1.3 crore. Around 1.3 crore workers are working in 2.46 lakh factories covered under ASI. Covered under ASI. Next, please write. Next point. The top 3 states. The top 3 states in terms of employment. In terms of employment are as follows. Yes, Rajan, correct. Your friend has missed the heading. What did we write? Findings. Findings of the survey. The top three state in terms of employment. Number one, Tamil Nadu. Number two, Maharashtra. Number three, Gujarat. Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Gujarat. Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Gujarat. Done. Cool. Always remember this so that you are never confused. If somebody tells you, beta, what is the definition of organized sector in India? Don't tell them these definitions. This is only meant for survey. This is the jugaad for survey. The real definition of organized, unorganized is very different that we do under the section called as employment, unemployment in India. There we will see what is the difference. Just say I can give you one hint that will make you happy and you will understand, Achha, this is also true. So for example, let's say I have just opened a factory. Listen to it carefully. I have opened a factory, maybe service, maybe manufacturing, trading, whatever it is. I have hired just one worker. But to that one worker, I am giving social security benefit. And I have not registered my factory anywhere. I have not registered my shop anywhere. Nowhere I have registered. I am hiding. And nobody knows on paper I exist because I am not on paper. I have not signed any document with Government of India. I don't even pay taxes. But one thing I have done is this year, I gave social security benefit of Government of India, announced by Government of India, like EPFO. So I give one social security benefit to one of my workers, I become registered. Because now Government of India will track me down. So the new definition of organized sector is there is a list given by the government. Anybody who fulfills this list, doesn't matter whether you are here or not, even if you give one social security benefit, one pension to one worker, you will become organized. And why? Because now the government can track you down. And government will come and say, beta, where were you? You are giving social security and pensions. Where is your income tax? Where is your corporate tax? What have you been doing? Labor laws, sir, where is it? So Government of India says, if you want to become organized, you don't have to even register. Just give social security to the workers. We'll hunt you down. Sorry, we'll track you down. Right? So we will see that in employment and unemployment. Today, different topic. So guys, come back. See, we have done one, which is annual survey of industries. Now we are going to do the next part. So the next part is, acha bataiye, which part do you find is the best part to find the performance of somebody? Look at the result or look at the intentions? That's easy. Intentions are difficult to find, right? So we will look at result first. So the result wala part is this, index of industrial production and index of core industries. So now don't write anything. Let me tell you what this is. Dhyan se dekhiye, I'm going to show something to you. Look at this, please. There is a basket which I have taken. Look at the gestures. I'm going to use this basket a lot in almost every lecture now. So there is a basket which I have in my hand. I'm a developing country. I don't have time. I don't have resources to go to every factory of India. I told you it's in crores. Almost 9 to 10 crore different business entities are there. I can't go to all of them. I don't have the resources. So what will I do? I'll do simple thing. I will travel across India and find out how many companies are in the business of manufacturing. And I find, wow, I mean, it's mind-boggling. It's in crores again. Almost like 7-8 crore companies are doing manufacturing only, small and big manufacturing. So what do? At this time, I'm not going to organized sector only. I'm going everywhere, organized, or wherever I can see a company or a factory, anybody doing business, I jump there and say, hey, I see what you are doing. You are selling ice cream. For me, you are a businessman. Whether you are registered or not, I don't care. Because this time it is about India. This time it is not about organized. I want to see how India is doing. So what will I do if I'm a government official? I'll jump everywhere. This corner, this building, that building, everywhere I'll jump. And everywhere if I see there are hundreds of companies, I'm not going to go to 100 of companies. I'll just select, let's say, 30 out of them. In statistics, they say that if you select 30 out of 100, it's a good sample. And they have done their research through computers and machine learning that if you take a sample of 30 and you create a result, it is as good as taking entire 100 and creating a result. It's very close. So whenever you take a sample, if you take a sample size of around 30 or more than 30, it's considered to be an amazing sample. Example, suppose that there are 100 students in the class. I ask every student the marks and then I calculate average. How will I calculate average? Students marks 1, marks 2, marks 3 plus marks 4 plus marks 100 divided by 100. Average. Suppose the average marks of the class is 80. There is another method through computers we got to know through software that this time I will not ask 100 students. I'll just select randomly 30 30 students, let's say 15 from online, 15 from offline, but I have to select 15 online and offline both. So if I take 30 students marks and I average it, marks 1, marks 2 plus marks 30 divided by 30, you know what will be the result? The result will be same, very close to the average of the class. Average of the class suppose is 80, 100 students, 30 students ka average will be 79.99. So they say that if you don't have time and you want to save resources, you want good result, don't take entire sample, just take 30%, and you are good to go. So what is the government doing? Government makes a list of all the companies of India who are in manufacturing. Government jumps here, there. And what are the various kinds of things that we can manufacture? Chaliye, give me examples. So for example, this digital board, is it a capital good? Capital good mean it's almost like a machine which you are using repeatedly, or is it a consumer good which you use, eat, finish and throw? Capital or consumer? Capital. Because it's like an asset. Capital good. Awesome. Capital is an asset. And okay, you can use it multiple times to fulfill some objectives. Now similarly guys, can you tell me what is electricity? Intermediate good or final good? Electricity. Do we consume electricity? We use electricity to do something else. So for example, we use electricity to run machines, to run fan, air conditioner, light. So electricity is in between good, intermediate good. So similarly, sugar. So we use sugar to make coffee. So sugar is intermediate good. That is also manufacturing. Similarly, suppose that you have a piece of cake in your hand. So what is that good? Final good. Awesome. Now what is the nature of this final good? Is this final good having too much of life or very less life? Very less life, which means there are some goods which have huge lifespan, like a car, a bike, refrigerator, air conditioners. They have huge lifespan. But suppose that you have just bought a t-shirt. What will be the life of the t-shirt? Very less. It's not like car that for 25 to 30 years it will survive with the same strength. It's not possible. Wear and tear is very fast in case of clothes. So similarly, suppose you have a pen. The ink will be exhausted in 2 lectures only if you attend 2 lectures of mine, right? So guys, these are the things. These are various type of manufacturing items. Ice cream is there, milk is there, perishable items. There are so many types of manufactured items. Okay? So what does the government of India do? Government of India goes in the market. Listen to it carefully now, guys. Gestures. Government of India goes in the market and says, I will select some intermediate goods. So for example, let's say sugar, intermediate good. So government says, I'll put some intermediate goods here. Some final goods also. So for example, ice cream will also be put here. Some air conditioner type of goods. They have huge lifespan, and some goods with less lifespan, like for example, t-shirts, some capital goods. So the government of India says that I'm going to consumer durables. Consumer durable means AC, refrigerator, they have huge lifespan. And consumer non-durable would mean that they have low lifespan. For example, clothes, they are non-durables. And consumer durable means huge lifespan. So we divide the manufacturing goods into various types. So we select some durable, non-durable, etc., etc. Right. So it depends. For example, if you are wearing clothes because you have to act in a movie, then clothes become intermediate good. But if you are wearing the clothes and going out to walk, going out to have coffee with somebody, you are not converting it into any economic activities. That's your final good. So it depends. If you are eating raw sugar, that's final good. But if you are putting sugar in a coffee, that's intermediate good. All right, fine. So you put some goods in this basket. So this basket has a good sample of all the type of goods in India. That's number one. Number two, there is something unique which is of one type only, electricity. So we produce electricity, put electricity also here. Look at the magic now, put electricity also. You know India is a country which is very rich in mining. So you take some minerals, mining also. And minerals are primary in nature. For example, you get it from nature. They are raw minerals. For example, iron ore, that's a mineral. But when you convert iron to steel, steel becomes intermediate good, right? So you take iron ore also and put it here because India is very good in minerals. So what did you put? First you put mining products, then you put manufacturing products, and what else are you putting? You are putting the electricity. Electricity is a very unique intermediate goods in manufacturing only. So first is mining, second is manufacturing, and third is electricity. You put it in this box. There are these 3 types of things majorly. Waise to there are so many types, but these are the main 3 types of things that we are interested in knowing in India, that whether the production has increased or decreased. Put that in the box. And then you find out the volume of those items produced in India, these items produced in India in 2023, last year. So what is the date today? Today is 2nd October. So exactly 1 year back, what will be the date? 2nd October. 2nd October what? 2023. So find out that in India, the factories producing clothes, air conditioner, refrigerator, electricity, mining companies, what is the quantity of the item that they produced last year on 2nd of October 2023? Volume, not the monetary value, but volume, number of units. So you measure that. Suppose last year they produced 100 units. In this box, 100 units are there, like one refrigerator, one air conditioner, one t-shirt, etc. Total 100 units are there. You go to same companies today this year, same company, and ask them, hey, this year how many t-shirts did you produce? How many cars did you produce? So suppose that you create a box for this year, this box last year, another box this year. So this year when you count the number of items in the same factory, you find out that the number of items are 110. What is the percentage increase in the volume of the items? 10%. This 10% is called as IIP. That's your IIP. But wait, there is a rule which I have told you. I'll show you technically also how it is done. Because this story will not be asked in UPSC. UPSC will ask you precise numbers, how many manufacturing items, how many mining items, why this item, why that item. This is how they will torture you. But at least if you know this story, the moment you get IIP question, now what will flash in front of your mind? The tissue box. It will start to flash in your mind. That acha, IIP would mean tissue box, full of items. So what is the number of items last year? What is the number of items this year? The jump is called as IIP. So always correlate these kind of difficult things using these kind of props. It becomes easy. Life becomes easy. We don't have to show off to somebody that we are, gyanis of everything. We have to answer questions in the exam. As simple as that. Whatever it takes, use it to answer question. So there is one thing which we should keep in mind in this kind of analysis, that the government of India has problems with respect to resources. So government of India says that I don't want to spend too much money. I don't want to spend too much time in going to every place. So I will select some factories and I will select some commodities. Like for example, government of India says that there are different types of manufacturing items, but I will select only hardly few. For example, I'll select hardly 900 type of items. But the type of manufactured items produced in India is more than 28,000. So roughly if you go to MSMEs and ask them, MSMEs, what are you doing? MSMEs themselves are producing more than 7,000 type of items. MSMEs are producing more than 7,000 type of items. If you go to big industries, if you add everything, it's around 28,000 items. In India, we produce more than 28,000 variety of items, big and small. You can't put everything there. You don't have the time to do the survey. So what does government of India say? Government of India says, I will select those items which are significant in nature. I'll not pick matchbox. Because government says matchbox is not very significant for me. It doesn't add too much. So government picks, how does government pick significant items? Those items which contribute a lot in our GDP. Government says that is significant. Are you understanding now the connection? These things need to be understood. What is significant? If anything provides me good income, what is good income? Double digit? Double digit. So if the income is roughly around, let's say 10%, 10%, 10%, so I will say, you are good. Which means, oh wow, I know one thing now, that any significant contributor is at least giving 10% income to me, at least, or around 10. Suppose 9.9 is also considered to be 10. So government says this is our benchmark. Well, now we are understanding, okay, why some products, why not other products? So now you put everything in the box and you jump. Okay, question to you. First question. Suppose that, please don't take me wrong, because this is only for academic purpose. Suppose you have to go out on coffee with somebody. What are the two things that you need to examine? I have told you this in the past, I remember. The behavior of the person last year, or the behavior of the person last year, as well as the behavior of the person 10 years back. Both? Saying this out of experience? Experience? What happened, guys? Both or one? Both. Absolutely both. Because people change. So suppose that some was an amazing person. I believe that person, that okay, you are right. And I go out on coffee with that person. And suppose when I am having coffee, the person gets angry, pissed off, and throws the coffee, spills the coffee on my face. And then I start to wonder, hey, what has happened? Because I heard this person is very cool. Later on, I came to know that no, earlier he was cool. Now he's very hot-headed. Right now the person has changed because the person has read too much of economics and polity. So something has happened inside, right? So when you study a lot of subjects, it changes you as a person. So just be careful with people who study a lot of economics and polity both. Huh? So guys, when you go out on coffee with somebody, make sure that you ask two questions, not to the person, he will never or she will never answer this. Friends, right? Very smart. So whenever you are going out or planning to go out, so who is listening to me very carefully? You know, two people, Rajan and Manas, they are listening to me very carefully. Amit, where are you lost? Devanshu, what happened? All fine. So they are listening to how bolo sir, jaldi batao. So guys, I'll tell you, whenever you plan to go out on coffee with somebody, just make sure that you find your target, find the person, and then you ask the person that, can you give me phone number of your best friends, childhood friends of last 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. The person will be baffled, why childhood friend? Just tell them randomly, I want to see your friend circle. Take 2 phone numbers from that person. So first phone number should be that friend of your friend, who is the friend of your friend since last 5, 6, 7 or 10 years. So suppose I am planning to go out on coffee with person A. I will tell A, can you give me a phone number of your friend who is your friend since last 10 years? And then I will tell Mr. A or Miss A that, can you give me the phone number of somebody whom you know since last year? 2 phone numbers. So if I have to find out what is the connection with real life, the connection is, when I told you that I need to find out what is the performance of industries in India. What did I do? I put some electricity company ka production, then I put mining companies production, I put manufacturing companies production, which year? 2023. And then I compared 23 with 24. Bad comparison. Because maybe in 1 year the performance is very good, but maybe I want to see what is the long-term performance of these companies. So what do I need to do? I need to go back in 2011. So in 2011, I need to create the same box, which means same companies. I need to go back in 2011 and ask them, hello, mister, I heard that you are producing steel, right? So in 2011, can you tell me how many kgs of steel did you produce in 2011? That person will say 1 kg. I'll say, put here, 1 kg. I'll go to car company and ask them, how many cars did you produce in 2011? I'll put it here. I will go to electricity company and ask them, how many units of electricity did you produce in 2011? Put it here. So I will create the same box in 2011. So suppose in 2000, listen to it carefully, bacho. In 2011, the quantity of output or volume of output created was 100 units. Now in 2024, the volume is 104 units. Wow. Now I know that in long term 4% jump, but in short term 6%. So compared to last year, this year 6% jump, but compared to 2011, 4% jump only, which means the performance of these companies has picked up recently. If you go in the past, too much in the past, the performance was not that great, but recent performance has been good. So I can say that over a long period, the performance was not very good, but recently the companies have started to do slightly better, which means recent times are slightly okay. Now, why are we doing all this? Because whenever somebody will ask me, beta, as a student, how have you evolved? How do you judge if I have evolved as a student? Look at my marks last year, look at my marks this year, you will find out that's wrong. Maybe last year, I couldn't do well because my health was not okay. It happens. But if you want to really judge what kind of student I am and whether I am progressive or not, go in last 6, 7 years and judge me. 6 years, go back, 7 years, go back and look at my marks, and today look at my marks. So 2 kinds of judgment, last year versus this year, 6 years back versus this year. At least you get good picture. So don't be too judgmental by looking at people just in 1 year. That's what the government of India does. So chalo, let me show you the technicalities. Please give a title. Ab you'll understand this very fast. Please write. Index of Industrial Production, number 2. Index of Industrial Production. Index of Industrial Production, IIP. Index of Industrial Production, IIP. Please write. IIP, let me dictate you a few things, then I'll explain again. IIP is a quantum index. IIP, see, look at the board, please. IIP is a quantum index which measures the performance of a basket of selected which measures the performance of a basket of selected industries, which measures the performance of a basket of selected industries in a given year compared to some fixed year in the past. Some fixed year in the past. It is called as a volume index also. It is called as volume index also. Change the paragraph and please write. The industry selected under IIP. The industry selected under IIP. Please write number A. Underline it. The industries selected under IIP, please underline. The industries selected under IIP, please underline it. And please write number A. Broadly speaking, three types of industries are selected. Broadly speaking, three types of industries are selected. Number one, mining. In the bracket, please write 29 items. 29 items, which is what different type of mining products are we taking? 29 type of mining products like iron ore, copper ore, coal, etc. These are all mining products. So we are putting 29 type of mining products because India does well in these kind of things. So mining, 29 items. Remember this items? Awesome. Number two, manufacturing. Manufacturing. See how many items? Manufacturing, 809 items. 809 items. 809 items. See how many items we are picking in manufacturing. Because I told you, a number of manufacturing industries are almost 9 to 10 crores in India. So obviously you will pick more items there. Third, electricity. Electricity only one. Because when you switch on the switches to run your bulb, only one type of electricity, final electricity. Doesn't matter thermal, renewable, non-renewable, but everything is electricity. So that's why one. Now, these are the three things we are taking. So look at this again, please. Mining, 29 items, manufacturing, 809 items, electricity, 1 item. If you convert this into percentage, because see, number of items of manufacturing is more, number of items of mining is little less than this, and the least number is this. So what the government of India does is, government of India also converts this by attaching weights. If you take a weighted average of this, weight means that's whose importance is more, this importance is more. So if you take the weighted average, then you can convert this into percentage also, and the percentage will become this. So please write percentage wise, change the paragraph. Change the paragraph. In the same point, you are writing first point, no, point number A. In point number A, we have written three things, right? So change the paragraph. After the third thing, please write that weight wise or weightage wise, put a dash. Again, please write number 1. Mining 14.4%. Mining 14.4%. Instead of writing number of items, now we are writing percentage, weight, importance. Huh? Number 2, manufacturing 77.6%. Manufacturing 77.6%. Electricity 8%. Electricity 8%. I told you weighted average. How do you calculate weighted average? You calculate weighted average by W1 A1 plus W2 A2 plus W3 A3 divided by W1 plus W2 plus W3. That's how you take the weighted average. So when you take weighted average, what do you do? What is this A1, A2, A3? This A1 is mining. This A2 is manufacturing and A3 is this. So what is the number of items you took for mining? Number of items? 29. So your A1 becomes 29. What is your A2? Manufacturing? 809. And what is electricity? 1. So your A1, A2, A2 is this basic CSAT. A1, A2, A3, number of items. What is this weight? Weight is the contribution of this item in the gross value added, the GDP, national income of India. So what is the weight that you are taking? Weights are the contribution of these items in India's national income. So here contribution of the item in national income, contribution. Then you calculate this. This is how you calculate this percentage. You don't have to get into that calculation. You would have understood that you have to skip this part. But I already told you how to calculate. So first you have to take number of items multiplied by its contribution in the GVA. Number of items, contribution. Number of items, contribution. This is how you calculate the weight. But not required to be done. Just out of curiosity, maybe you would have thought, kaise kare? So that's the way. But skip it. Now come back, please. So see guys, what are we doing now? Old method, and this method works wonders in economics. You just have to take a box. How many items of mining? 29, 809 manufacturing, 1 electricity, put it in the box. Find the value of this box in 2 types. First, don't write please. Abhi dekho. First you take 2011-12. Why? This is called base year. What is base year? Base year means reference year. I'll give you a definition, don't worry. Base year means reference year. So why are we taking such old base year? Because Government of India says that I want to go deeper into the past and compare today's performance with past performance. But don't you think it is too much into the past? It is too much into the past. So Government of India says that, no, it is very deep, too much into the, but you are multiplying it with 809, no. So this number is big. So if you multiply it with 17 also, it's huge. So come back now, please study this. So this job is done. Don't get stuck there. Problem ho jayegi phir. These are simple things. Don't get stuck. Move on. Competitive exam. So 2011-12, this is base year. So Government of India used to select this base year long time back, and government used to say that I will compare today's performance with past performance. Bhai, how much past? If you want to judge me, how am I as a person? So why will you judge me based on what I was doing when I was 1 year old? How does it, come on, what are we doing? So what is government doing here? Government of India is saying that I will judge the performance of this box today compared to 2011. 2011 is so much past. Please update it. 5-6 years we understand. 2011, why? This is one negativity. That the first is the concept of base year, I feel, should be taught while teaching inflation. Because the moment I reach inflation with you guys, there I will give you a full-fledged theory of base year. Because the application of base year at 2 topics in economics is humongous. Number 1, when you study inflation, base year has to be rock solid. And number 2, when you study GDP, national income accounting, their base year concept has to be rock solid. But for today, I am telling you a simple thing, that base year would mean reference year. But your base year should not be too old, in the Stone Age. It is very bad. So this is one criticism. But then you would wonder, if you know it, sir, government would also be knowing it. Why didn't the government change it? I'll tell you why. Government wanted to change the base year. This one, government wanted to 2017. 17 is okay, because this is 2024, 17 is fine. 5-6 years in the past, 7 years in the past. Why did we? Demonetization happened, GST happened, and then government wanted to keep it as 2018, they could not keep it. Why? Because 2018 was also disturbed year, effect of demonetization. So imagine that you want to compare how I am as a person. And how do you compare me how I am as a person? You go like almost like 10 years in the past. At that time I was a very angry person. And then you start to make a judgment that time also angry, today also angry. Right? So it's a very bad comparison. Why? Because it might be true that in the past, when I was a very angry person, I was not well. Maybe I had fever, I got little angry. Maybe, somebody took my money, I got very angry. Maybe somebody took my chocolate, I got very angry. In the school, somebody took my notebook, I was very angry. But that doesn't mean I am an angry person. So similarly, the government of India did not take 2017 as the base year because effect of demonetization, 2018 effect of demonetization and GST, 2019 there was economic slowdown, 2020 COVID, 2021 COVID, 2022, abhi COVID ke naam pe to we'll spend next 10 years. 2020 COVID, this is how it all starts. 2020 COVID, 21 COVID, 22 COVID, 23 COVID. They are saying, ho gaya na, COVID is over. right? 2024 COVID, Government of India said 24 COVID, somebody said it's over, sir. Then government said, acha, 2024, post-COVID, right? So somebody breaks your heart, COVID, and that recovery time that you require, post-COVID. So here, the Government of India needs recovery time. So we are not changing the base year because we are not able to find a suitable base year, because every base year has some problem, right? So what is government doing? Government is saying, since we are not able to find anybody, 2011 for some time should remain the base year. Good news for you. This year, government has set up a committee. What is that committee doing? I'll tell you during inflation. Actually, committee has been set up. That committee is examining, and they are saying by January, they are going to give a new base year. And my intuition is that either 2018 or 2019 will become the base year. So because there is no other candidate. And if you ask me honestly speaking, at which year ideally should become a base year, 18 or 19, I have an answer. 19 should become the base year. That's the most ideal candidate which we have out of all the worse years. 2019 is relatively a decent year. So base year will definitely change. For now, it has not changed, but by January, government has already announced it's going to change. But I will give you the theory of base year when I teach you inflation. Absolute theory I'll give you dictations on this. But today, what is base year? Year of comparison, year of reference. So how do you calculate this IIP? See, first of all, you take 2011-12, that's number one. And number two, you take 1 year in the past, 23-24. So how do you calculate IIP? You calculate IIP like this. See, bachcho. You'll understand it so easily. This is how you calculate IIP. So what do you do? So what do? You take this box, and find out what is the volume or output of production in these sectors. Which date? October 2023. So which date? Suppose October 2nd, 2023. And how many units have been produced here? Number of, bikes, number of pens, etc., number of television, 100 units. We call it volume because we are counting units, 100. When you come to 2024, October 2nd, 2024, this year, the number of units has become, let's say, 108. So if somebody will ask you that what is the jump in the number of units? So how do you find the jump? You find the jump in the number of units using a formula like this. So IIP is equal to 108 minus 100 upon 100 into 100 is equal to 8%. How did we calculate? This one is called current year's value. So that's your current value. And what do you take here? You take here the base year value. So this is your base year. Last year is the base year, means comparison year. So this is your base year. And this is your current year. So you did current year minus base year upon base year into 100. So what is the formula of IIP? The formula of IIP becomes current year minus base year upon base year into 100. That's your IIP. Now suppose I give you another number. Let's calculate. Now suppose, guys, I'm removing all this and I'm giving you a new number. So suppose this is not my base year. I am changing. I want to go deeper into the past, and my base year becomes October 2011, October 2nd, 2011. And this is my current year, October 2nd, 2024. The value here is 100 units. And the value here is 106 units. How do you calculate the IIP? IIP is equal to same formula. IIP is equal to 106 minus 100 upon 100 into 100 is equal to 6%. What is the difference? The difference is you represent IIP like this. IIP, in the bracket you will write base 2011-12 and then write 6%. And for IIP base year 2023-24, you will write 8%. That's the difference. So whenever you calculate IIP, it is compulsory, international rule, that in the bracket you have to write the base year, that you are finding the value of this box today. In both the cases, you are finding the value. See, in both the cases, you are finding the value of the box today. But in one case, you are comparing today's box with 2011 box. And in one case, you are comparing today's box with last year's box. So you need to mention that what are you taking as year of comparison? And these two numbers you represent. Which number does newspaper tell us? Only one number. So when you read newspapers, they only tell you this. What is this method called as? When you take this year and compare it with last year. What is this method called as? Year on year comparison. So there is another name of this, which you must be knowing, and we have to know this. Since we are comparing, see, what are we doing here? We are taking, see this please. What are we doing here? We took today, 2024, and we went exactly 1 year back. Exactly 1 year back. So this year, last year. This year, last year. So this is called point to point. Why? Because what is the point? Today's date, October 2nd, is a point. We went exactly 1 year back to point called as October 2, 2023. Point to point. It is also called as year on year, which means this year, last year. This year, last year. But when you convert this into 2011, that is not point to point. Because that is too much into the point to point means immediate last year. That's the rule. When do you use point to point? You say point to point when you compare today's performance with exactly 1 year back. That's point to point or year on year. So if you come here, this one is called as point to point, year on year. So in newspapers, what they do is, they will tell you this, listen to it carefully, in newspaper they will tell you that beta the IIP number on point to point basis is 8% in India. Now you have to think, acha, point to point basis, which means the value of this box this year is 8% higher compared to last year. That is the meaning. That's called year on year, point to point. So you have to understand these two things. This is never called point to point. Cool? Clear? Simple. So for example, this is a hypothetical calculation that I did. Otherwise, you will have to bring your calculator. So for example, let's say this 8% you are asking, no. So for example, in 2023, hypothetically, suppose the number of units is 100 units. And here the number of units is 108. So I deliberately took numbers. Otherwise, if you want to take, you can take 112 here and 126 here. Then you will have to do that calculation. Okay, cool. Nice. So let's come back. Now see, look at something else. So same thing explained in a slightly different way, because UPSC will ask you this. So this you understood. We were a little slow in explaining this. What did I tell you? That manufacturing items are of various types. Mining items can be also of various types. What are we doing now? So we are expanding the manufacturing items in these categories. Types of manufacturing items. How many manufacturing items did you take? 809. So in this 809 type of manufacturing in the box, it would be a refrigerator. What would you call a refrigerator as? Refrigerator can be called as consumer durable. There may be some like generator that will be called as capital goods. There might be ice cream or a t-shirt that
This meeting is being recorded.
from mines. So that is there in the primary goods. So what have you done here? You have divided these items into these categories on the basis of use. So this is broad categorization. Broadly, it is of 3 types. But if you precisely go deeper into it, you can further divide this into this type. Which means, listen to it carefully, let's count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 3 groups can be divided into 6 types. Which means, let me draw something for you here, in front of you only. So, which means that if I'm taking a box, say like this, right, how many categories am I putting? Number 1, number 2, number 3. What is the first one? Mining. Second is manufacturing, and third is electricity. Are you understanding, guys? Three things. Now see what I'll do. Listen to it carefully, please. This is the magical part. So what I do is, I find how many units are produced here in the year 2023. So suppose number of units are 100. Now what I do is, I create the same box next year. Now next year what happens? The number of units, will be bigger. You see, box size has increased. So since my box size has increased, which means next year it has become, this year it has become 110. So if somebody will ask me, beta, what's your IIP? I'll say IIP, and then I'll write base year 2023. See, I told you, you have to write this. So then it will become 10%. But somebody will say, no, I mean, this I understand, but can you tell me the same thing in a different way? I'll say, yeah, why not? See, same thing in a different way. So first, I will call all the mining products as primary, and all the manufacturing items that I wrote and electricity, I'm going to divide in various, like electricity, I told you, electricity is used for some other purpose. So when you are using electricity for economic activities, intermediate. When you are using electricity for your direct consumption, that's your final, depends. So what do? I divide the manufacturing and electricity, second part and third part, into various categories like consumer durable, consumer non-durable, capital goods, intermediate goods. The same three things have been divided into 6 things now. So what will I do here? Instead of writing 3, I will write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing. Just a redivision. And now I will say that I have divided those 3 things into 6 things based on use. Where is it being used? So if I'm using a t-shirt, the use is consumer non-durable, because I don't want my t-shirt to last 200 years. So on the basis of use, the manufactured item called t-shirt becomes consumer non-durable, and refrigerator becomes durable. So I have just divided 3 things into 6 things. Result is same, nothing changes. So UPSC might ask you a question that which of the following components are taken in IIP, broadly speaking? 3 things. Bataiye, your memory is good. 3 things: mining, manufacturing, and electricity. Then UPSC will ask you which of the following are taken in IIP on the basis of use. What is the first one? Primary. Second one? Intermediate. Guys, I'll test your memory because your memory is good, hence I'm testing. If it would not have been good, I would never test. I only test things when I feel that you are good in it. Your memory is good, keep it sharp. So number 1 is primary, number 2 is intermediate, number 3 is durable, number 4 is non-durable, number 5? Number 5 is? Awesome. So, and then you have capital goods. Ab dekho, infrastructure and construction. So whatever things you use for like cement you are using for infrastructure. So we are dividing it into infrastructure and construction. Why? Because construction infrastructure is a separate sector in the economy. Remember, construction, and remember the game government played. Construction has been kept with industries. So that's why, along with manufacturing, government is also putting construction there, so that it helps us to do this kind of management. So guys, the same 3 things can be divided into these 6, and you got to memorize. Ab ek sawal, question, that for example here, when you found the weight of mining, what is the weight of mining percentage? Guys, have a look at all of you. What is the percentage? 14.4. Manufacturing? 7.6%. And electricity? 8. Because there were only 3 things, but now there are 6 things. So now you got to change the percentage. How will you change the percentage? So this percentage, based on the importance, is this now. So for example, let's say 34, 17, 15, 12, 12, and 8. This is what you got to memorize. So dekho, I know, I mean, this is where I run out of logic, that I wish I had a formula to tell you how to memorize this entire percentage in 0.1 second, but it is not possible. So what you need to, these are some limitations. So for example, you memorize the articles of the Constitution. You can understand the concept, but ultimately you have to memorize. So what do you need to do here? You have to understand, which we discussed, little slowly only we discussed, absorbed. But after some logic, you have to memorize also, because UPSC is a brutal exam. It will ask you, arrange these components in the order of decreasing percentage. This question they will ask. At that time, you need to memorize all this. So how would I memorize if I were you? I will just have a look at it and say, acha. So 34 and 17. Wow, double. So this is easy. 34 and 17. First thing memorized. Then I see, okay, 17 to 15. So I'm just coming down by, let's say, 2 units. 17 to 15. And then I have 12. 12 is almost like 13. It's 12.84. So it's almost 13. Because if I take it as 12, next is also 12. I can't do that. So this is 17, 15, 13. And the moment I come to 13, I'll remember 12.984 something. Oh, wow, I have memorized. 34, 17, 15, 13. 13 is 12.84. And then I go to 12 and then 8. I know very bad method, but at least it gives me some answer. Right. So I'll start with 34, then go to 17, then go to 15, then go to 13. 13 is 12.84. Then I go to 12, and then I go below. I say, it's easy. This is how you memorize. But you have to memorize. This percentage has to be memorized. If you want to answer that one question in the exam, this also number of items has to be memorized, and the percentage also which I gave you has to be memorized. These few things have to be memorized. No questions asked, you have to memorize this. Please write. But did you learn something interesting? Point to point, year on year, percentage, IIP. So please write. Your friend is asking, do we need to memorize percentage? Maybe they asked it like little while ago. The message, I think internet must be a little slow because I'm not getting the immediate message. Exact number or just order. Numbers also you have to memorize. Numbers you have to memorize. Do the numbers of items and the use-based item remain fixed or keep changing? See, the government does not change this every year. So for example, in January, we are expecting that this will change. Every 5 years, government does a stock taking exercise, because government believes that this kind of combination, this number of items, etc., cannot change every year. Government says every year if I change it, then what will happen is all the formulas that I have calculated, everything which is connected to IIP will have to change. So government says that whatever is true this year, according to government, remains true for next 5 years. And government says only in 5 years' time, big changes happen. So government says that every 5 years, we'll have a stock taking exercise. If we feel this needs to change, they will change it. Like my belief is that either by the end of December, during our lecture, or January, this will change. There is a big change which is coming, already announced by the government. What will change? This will change. Inflation ka formula will change. Government has already announced. So I'm also delaying it a little bit. I'll take it up towards the end. Last year, I took inflation in the very beginning, because I knew it's not going to change. And I used to tell my students also last year in the module that it's not going to change. Relax. Elections are there. Nothing will change. But this year elections have happened. Government has created a committee. So I want to hold on to inflation for some time, because what's the point of studying it and then in the end it will change and then I'll tell you, I have already taught. I don't want to do all that. So we'll wait for some time. So hence the sequence of topics this year is slightly different because elections have happened. So inflation will change. Formula of inflation will change according to me, because government has already announced. GDP calculation mein some changes I am expecting, because government has said that the committee is working on changing the entire formula and data system of India. Do you think I'm teaching you this data system just like that? Not obviously. Because the government has created a committee to change entire data and reporting system, so I thought, why not have a base? So that during our lecture, let's say in 3-4 months, the committee report comes, or some normal report comes from the committee, at least some foundational report, you'll be able to connect with it, that how we know it, what you are saying. That's why we are doing this topic right in the beginning, so that when in the newspaper it starts to flood the newspaper, you are the ones who will see and say, I know what you are saying. And then one day, when all the changes happen, we'll take up a lecture again, we'll consolidate everything and say, chalo, these are the changes that have happened. So inflation will change. Some changes are going to happen in GDP and IIP, etc. This is also going to change. And one of the changes I can assure you, the base year of everything will change. Like the base year of GDP also in India is 2011. The base year of some types of inflation is also 2011. The base year of IIP is 2011. The base year of index of core industries is also 2011. And I think all the base year will change at one go. It will become 18 or 19, but we will see. Chaliye, please write that. Please create a box like this, bacho. I want you to create a box like this and then write it. Because in exam, if UPSC will tell you that explain IIP, then you will have to do this. So please draw this box and please write broad-based. Please write broad-based. You can create a rectangular box and simply write these things. Mining, manufacturing, electricity. Mining, manufacturing, and electricity. Mining, manufacturing, and electricity. By the way, tomorrow I am going to bring your handout. Handout from industry. So, mining, manufacturing, and electricity. Done? Cool. Now please create arrows and do this. This part. No, you don't need to write. You have already written. That's fine. You can draw directly arrows. Right? Use paste. Quantum means quantity. Volume. Quantum would mean volume. Entire thing. You have to write this entire thing with percentage. This has to be memorized. There is no other way. I think I have made a mistake in writing this. No, it's fine. You can just write 12.34 is fine. So anybody who tells you that memorization is not required for UPSC, memorization is a bad thing, I'm sorry, that's a lie. Memorization is also important for a few things, and nothing can substitute memorization. You have to memorize the sequence and the percentage you have to do. Simple. Concepts are important, but memorization helps us to crack prelims kind of stages. Absolutely. Your friend is saying that ultimately it boils down to understand and memorize. They go hand in hand. So don't hate memorization, okay? Become friends, be comfortable. It increases speed, obviously. It helps you to add value. Done. Very nice speed. Wow. To my online students, done. I can see more of you on camera today. Very good to see you. It's good to see my students. Done. Very nice. Very good. Chaliye, likhiye, let's write. Please write. Please write, bacho, that IIP is calculated by taking a base year, and then comparing it with the current year, using the following formula. So what is the formula? Formula is, please write, using the following formula. IIP is equal to current year minus base year upon base year into 100. IIP is equal to current year minus base year upon base year into 100. Now please write number A. Please write number A. We take 2011-12. We take 2011-12 as the official base year. So if somebody will ask you, बच्चों, what is the official base year? You have to say 2011-12. The term has given to it official. Why? Because they want to see what are the changes in last 10-11 years. It's official. Number B, please write. We take not past but last. Sorry. We take number B. We take last year as the base year. Last year as the base year to do point to point comparison. To do point to point comparison. Point to point comparison or year on year comparison. Year on year comparison. Write a note, please. This note is important. So, bachcho, in newspaper, which base year is by default taken to report the things? By default? Last year, point to point. Newspaper by default takes point to point. So, please write it in your notes that by default, what is meaning of by default? If nothing is mentioned, that's the meaning. So, please write by default, we take last year as the base year. Last year as the base year. So, bachcho, imagine if somebody meets you when you are an IAS officer, an expert meets you and tells you, beta, can you please tell me India's IIP? And then you ask the person that, sir, which IIP do you want? You want 2011 or last year? Don't need to ask, because if person tells you, can you tell me IIP? Simply take the as the base year, give the result, because the person is asking you by default point to point. If nothing is mentioned to you, point to point. And if somebody has to ask 2011, they will specifically mention, tell me the official IIP by taking 2011 as the base year. But nothing is told to you. Just give me IIP. Don't need to cross question anybody, because by default, IIP means last year versus this year. This is the rule. I'm going to draw one more picture for you. अब देखना बताना मुझे, how do you feel about this? So guys, imagine that there is a box, ऐसा कुछ. There is a box. This box looks like a complete box so far. Yeah, obviously it is complete. I've just divided it like this, but if you want I can do this also. Up to it has become a complete box. Box is complete. Right. So now there are 2-3 things that you should understand, that just like annual survey of industries is released every year, the IIP numbers are released every month, which means for the month of October, the Government of India, MOSPI, is going to release IIP for October 2024 by comparing it with October of last year. Similarly, November of this year, November of last year, December of this year, December of last year. But hey, there is a problem. The problem is that suppose I am a foreign investor, I want to come to India. So now I have decided that this is the 2nd of October, and now what has happened is on 1st of October example, IIP numbers released, and this is 2nd of October, but I'm confused. I'm confused that, but I got the number for 1st of October. That means if some number is released on 1st, it must be the performance of the previous month because it takes time to calculate, etc. No, so on 1st of October, if they are releasing the data, obviously the data is 1 month old. So I want to see how is India doing recently. I will not look at the 1st of October data. I will wait. But there is a problem. The problem is if some foreign investor wants to come to India, they will have to wait for monthly release of data. That okay, this month's data, then 30 days again wait, 30 days again wait. But suppose we want to give a very quick glimpse of this IIP to people that don't need to wait. Before the IIP is released, we are giving you a chotu number. Through that, you will come to know how it is doing. Example. So suppose guys that I want to see how you are doing in economics. I'll conduct a full test by asking you MCQs, main selected question, etc. But for that, I will have to wait. I'll have to give you revision time. Then you will come in the class. We will have a test, etc. But quickly, I want to see how performance is going. What will I do? I'll simply ask a question to you. I will tell you that, can you please tell me one question to you? Can you please tell me that mergers and acquisitions are covered under startup or not covered under startups? Not covered under startup. So what did I do? I just gave you one small question, you gave me the answer, and I got a glimpse that, yeah, your memory is still very sharp and you are focused. That means you are studying. I got a glimpse. I might be right, I might be wrong, but I got some idea, and now I'm confident. Because you answered a factual question correctly, which means in your test, I'm going to create more conceptual questions, because I know that you are good in facts. I will not test you in facts, right? So, if I need quick estimates about how you are doing, I'll simply ask one or two questions. Before the major test, I'll just ask one or two questions, and then I'll be happy that, yeah, class is doing well. Same thing. Government of India tells everyone that either you wait for monthly release of IIP, or before IIP is released in India, 12 days before that, almost 2 weeks before that, another number is released. And that number is a Chotu IIP. What is a Chotu IIP? Take a big box. From here, put your hand inside it. How many items are there? Suppose 100 items. Example, 100 items are there. Take 40 items out of this. 40 is a Chotu number. You can't take 50. It will become 50-50. So you have to take minority. So take 40%. Earlier, remember in school, 40% was the passing marks. So take 40 out of this box, 40 products, and put them in a Chotu box. And then check if those 40 industries are doing well or not. If they are doing well, you will say, haan, theek hai, I expect that this entire box will do well. So for example, this is your IIP, right? How many items are there? For example, let's say that here you have got, here you have got mining plus manufacturing and electricity. So many things, and you understand that from mining, almost like so many industries, from here almost 900 and this, so roughly around 839 type of items are there. So let's say that 1000 items are there. Example, 1000 items are there here. 1, 2, 1000 items. Because if you calculate, no, it becomes 839, 1000 items. So what do? I put my hand, this is IIP. I put my hand, I take out a box from here. So this box contains 40% items, which means 400. So what is left here? Roughly 600 items left. And now it becomes this. So what does the government of India do? This is released every month, monthly. So for example, suppose this will be released on 15th of October. But I am a foreign investor, I want to come to India. Why will I wait for 15th of October? 12 days before this, which means either on October 2nd or October 3rd, today or tomorrow, this number will be released. What is this number? Whatever we did in IIP, do the same thing here. Which means, find out which products have you taken, 400 products. Go to those companies who are producing this and ask them a question. Boss, what is the number of units that you produced? Volume. You put all the volumes in this box and count the number of items. How many cars, how many vehicles, how many bikes, how many pens, how many computers. Count it. Box, chotu box. And then you write that, okay, October 2023. So let's say 100 units were produced. 100 unit of items were produced. And this becomes October 2024, 112 units. Number of items 100 units and here 112 units. Volume of production. Then you use the formula 12 minus 100. 112 minus 100, 12%, which means there is 12% increase in output. What is this called as? Why did you take only 40%? Which 40%? So guys, tell me something. If I have to find out how Indian economy is doing before IIP, IIP is a big number, but I want to find out how economy is doing even before IIP. Which industries will I pick from here? The industries which are less important or industries which are more important? More important. When somebody is more important to you, when something is more important, what do you call that? A core or non-core? Core. Which means that whatever I took from here was core. So I have another question. What is more important? A shirt or cement? Because without cement, you cannot create a factory which gives you a shirt. So what is core? Shirt or cement? Cement. So what do you pick from here? Those items which are either intermediate goods, capital goods, or construction and infrastructure related goods. So steel is intermediate good. So what kind of items will you put? Those items which are used by almost every other industry. Those are called core. Without them, there is no survival. Electricity is a core. So those things which are used by everybody else is core. So from here, what do you take? From this box, all the core items you separate out. So and then you find out what is the performance of India in core items. Has the production increased or reduced? If the production has increased by 12%, this is called as index of core industries is equal to 12%. But ye hote kya hai? Who are these core industries? What are these core industries? Let's check. So guys, this is your core industry. See, so that's your IIP. From IIP, what do you do? What did I tell you? You take roughly 40% of the items. So you make a list of all the core items here. And when you make a list of all the core items, it becomes roughly 40.27%. You take a chotu box out of it, small box. And then you see which are the items which has been taken. See, these are your core items, industries which has been taken out of the IIP box. So the first is refinery products. Without refinery products, the cosmetic industry, medicine industry gone. Right. Number two, electricity, you understand. Without electricity, no factory will work in India. Steel, coal, crude oil, natural gas, cement and fertilizer. These are called core. Without them, economy cannot function. These things are required for agriculture, these things are required for industry, these things are required for services also. Because without electricity, can you imagine IT sector working? Without fertilizer, can you imagine agriculture working? So these are important for agriculture, industry and services. These are called core items. How many core industries are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you know what they do internationally, America, etc. Went in India, they ask only one question to Government of India. That government, can you please quickly tell me what is the value of index of core industries in your country? Which means, can you tell me the percentage increase in production of this box? Percentage increase in production of this box. So for example, let's say, bacho, that suppose this is the size of the box last year in 2023. This is your core items. This is the size. But what has happened? This year, the core items have become this, which means 2024. What does that mean? It simply means that India has produced more of these items. So see, core size is expanding. The moment this is happening, immediately we'll say, wow, India, you are showing something good. If you are producing these items, immediately I understand that these items are either used in creating industries in India, manufacturing, or these items are used to produce heavy goods, or these items will be used to promote agriculture. That means economy is putting more money in capital expenditure. Because who will use these items? Infrastructure sector, big industries. That's called capital expenditure. So if Government of India makes an announcement, think about it, bacho. This is your real economics. If Government of India makes an announcement that I am going to construct more roads, which production will increase in India? Production of shirts and t-shirts. Production of these items will increase. And if I am the Prime Minister of India, I have made an announcement that I am going to promote infrastructure. And suppose my industries which are producing this, they are very thanda industries. They are saying, ha, theek hai, it's okay. What does that mean? My announcement has zero impact. People are fearful. People believe that government is making fake promises. But if I am the Prime Minister, I have made an announcement that I am going to increase infrastructure in India. And listening to my announcement, these industries start to increase their production. That means economy is doing well. And people have hope. People trust the government. This is how you find out what is the condition of the economy for real. So if I have to judge the health of the economy, I have to judge my health. How would I judge my health? Pulse, heartbeat, temperature. This is what I'll check. I'm not going to do entire blood test, MRI, ultrasound, all those things. I'm not going to check every part of my body. Why will I do that? Just check the pulse. If it is 90, 85, 90, 100, problem. Right? If it's around 70, 75, 80, it's okay. Very high, very fast, there is some problem. That's your pulse of the economy. Understood? So that's why core industries are very important. So what happened in India? I have some numbers for you. Then I'll give you a dictation also. See this, please. Real life. So this is 2022, 2023, 2024. You can see roughly same time period, right? Emotional month, 1 month before emotional month, and this is emotional month. All the emotions captured here. So when you look at 2022, this is the performance of core industries. You see 5%. Now, what is a 19.3? After February, it increased. Then 2023, let's compare these two. So it is here, and here it is here. So what has happened? Increase. In 1 year time, it has increased. And now in 2024, see here, which means down. And you understand, automobile companies are not able to sell their vehicles. Yes, road construction has also slowed down. Something is wrong in the economy. Otherwise, core industries will not reduce production. I'll give an example. I am Mahindra and Mahindra. I have not been able to sell my vehicle. Will I buy more steel? I will not buy steel. So I will call the company who is manufacturing steel and I'll say, hey, don't send steel. I don't need it. Are you understanding? Don't send steel. So if they don't send steel, what will happen to the steel output here in the economy? Steel output will go down. And if the steel output goes down, the size of this box shrinks like this. Oh, this has happened. Wow. Because we are not able to sell automobile, steel companies are saying nobody is demanding steel from us. That's down. This is how you fight the health in the economy. So guys, when one sector is not doing well in the economy, automobile sector, or people are not buying refrigerator, very dangerous. Because not buying refrigerator is not a problem. The problem is if you don't buy refrigerator, these core industries will not produce anything. And then your economy is going bad. What happens during festive season? Festive season is coming now. What will happen during festive season? I'll tell you, big billion day sale. Right? Everything at 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 5 rupee, refrigerator discount, television discount. What are we going to do? We Indians are very emotional. We don't look at the final price. We look at the word discount. Right? Discount is 80%. After discount, price is also 1 lakh rupees, but discount is 80%, so we look at 80%. And then whatever is being sold at discount, first we buy it. And then people ask, why did you buy? Then we justify. Yeah, I might need it. Right? So what are we going to do during festive season? Like crazy, people are going to buy refrigerator, television, mobile phones. Crazy shopping is going to happen. I'm telling you this. Crazy shopping will happen. Marriage season is also coming. Right? So I need black bullet, double door refrigerator. I'm not talking about myself. Don't take me wrong. So he was asking, Acha. So I need a black bullet. I need double door refrigerator. And what is that washing machine? Front load, right load, top load. He has experience. So he says top load washing machine, right? Automatic, semi-automatic. I don't understand all this. So what is the government of India doing? Government of India is just waiting. Please, festive season, please come. Right? Why? The moment festive season comes, demand of this product will go up. And immediately what will happen? These core industries will give more raw material. And immediately you will see this will expand. And when this expands, entire IIP expands. And then India will flaunt everywhere. India will say, hey, see, our IIP is good, our core industries, India is a good destination. We kept on telling you, India is the bright spot in the otherwise gloomy atmosphere of the universe. Please invest in India. All of a sudden, you will see Invest in India campaign will become very strong during festivals. Why? Because festival is the time when IIP goes up. And these foreign investors, they look at IIP numbers all the time, despite the fact they know that India has festival throughout the year. Oh, is there any month where there is no festival? Right? So this is what is going to happen. This is the connection. Now, when the sale of refrigerator, when the sale of television, etc., it increases, what will happen to the sale of gold? Comes down. So in India, I have seen typically 2-3 patterns. One of the pattern is that around marriage season, around November, October, November and September, you will see a lot of gold rush. So anybody who's going to get married in November, their family will purchase the gold in August, September, October only. During marriage, they don't go in the market to buy the gold because they believe all the good designs and the gold will be out. Right? So everybody has a mad rush. Marriage is coming 3 months before, collect gold. So gold shopping has already happened. Now when your money is exhausted, you have bought the gold, less money is left. With that money, what will you buy during marriage? You will wait for the new model of refrigerator or sale time. So all of a sudden, you will see around December, the sale of gold will come down normally, unless we become crazy. And the sale of refrigerator, mobile phone, television screens and vehicles, it increases. So core industries perform slightly better. And when they do well, don't believe everything is fine. Just understand it's festive season. Simple. So guys, if somebody will ask you that how much percentage of this box did you take out to calculate core? It's around 40.27%. Now in this core industry, how many items are there? How many industries are there? So 8 industries are there. And what is the importance of these industries? Which industry dominates? Refinery products 28%, that dominates. Then electricity, is तरह से you have different weights. This is the latest I could get. Now this might change in January or December, we will see. If it changes, I'll support you through that, don't worry. So UPSC has asked almost 13 times this question in prelims in last 25 years. 13 times. What do they ask? They will ask you, which of the following component has the highest weight in core industries? And they will give you these numbers. Whatever is the option in the exam, you have to select the highest. I have always seen one question is repeated, the highest and the lowest. If you open past year 20 years paper, I'll show you those papers when we do MCQs. Last 20 years paper, these two questions have been asked by UPSC like crazy. Every second year they used to ask this. And they used to believe that kids would not know this. I don't know why. What kind of expectation is this? So this and this has been heavily asked in UPSC. Electricity has been asked a lot. So at least these numbers I see a lot. Okay? Is it fine? So please write. Please give a new title called as Index of Core Industries. Index of Core Industries. If your friend is saying that, sir, as per estimate, this year 48 lakh marriages are going to take place. Pankaj, why are you tracking these numbers? Yeah, give me the phone number of your parents. I want to speak to them. Right? So please write Index of Core Industries. Please write that core industries are those industries. Core industries are those industries whose products are used. Whose products are used in most other industries. Very nice, Pankaj, good. In most other industries, whose products are used in most other industries. Example, steel, coal, cement, electricity, and so on. The health of core industries, gives a good estimate of the health of the economy. Hence, Index of Core Industries, you can write short form, ICI, Index of Core Industries, is calculated and released around 12 days before the IP on a monthly basis. So IIP is released monthly, Core Industries Index is released monthly, but which index comes first? The Core Industries comes 12 days before IIP. Change the paragraph, please, and please write. To calculate ICI, Index of Core Industries, to calculate ICI, around 40.27%, weight is taken out of IIP, through 8 core industries. The volume of these 8 core industries the volume of these 8 core industries, the volume of these 8 core industries is calculated for the current year, and compared with the base year, This provides ICI, Index of Core Industries. This provides ICI. Full stop, please. Now, please write components of ICI. Components of ICI. Components of ICI. Don't you feel that this is a very unique type of chapter where after the concept, the memorization is more? So concept is there, because without concept, we would not have understood anything. Concept is important, but the number of things that you have to memorize, including percentages used. What is the way out? I'll tell you the jugaad, but only after you draw this table. Then we'll open the data book. So draw this entire table with percentage and every number. Official IIP is calculated on a monthly basis using 2011 as the base year. Similarly, official ICI is also calculated using 2011 as the base. Official 2011, but point to point is also used. 2 base years are used, just like IIP, anything. Bacho, always remember there are 2 base years. One is official 2011 and one is point to point last year. If nothing is mentioned, then it is point to point. And if they mention in the bracket official, then that means it is only official. You don't have to update these weights, because when the government of India will change these weights next year, it will come out in the newspaper. You will see it in the newspaper. Otherwise, there is another jugaad. Who releases IIP numbers? Which ministry releases IIP? MOSPI. Who releases Index of Core Industries? MOSPI only. MOSPI only. We studied MOSPI. So if you have to update these numbers, which website should you visit next year? MOSPI. DPIIT. Because on the very first page itself yesterday, we wrote DPIIT and you missed out. And I told you that you guys are very focused in terms of memorization, and you did not notice it. And yesterday we have written, yesterday itself we wrote. For example, what is this called? An annual survey of industries. We said it's MOSPI. Similarly, we were doing these things yesterday. We wrote it on the right side of your margin. You missed out. How did you recall? Last slide. Where it is written? I have already written it here. Why did I do this? All right. So guys, you understand. Pehle likh lo. Let's not jump, let's go sequence-wise. When we jump, there is confusion. Let's go sequence-wise. In a budget or economic survey, is it mentioned? It is mentioned, 100%. So next budget and next economic survey, it will be mentioned in a chapter called as Industries. Industries. Towards the end of the class, I've got a gift for you. Bataiye. Now, we should consider some things like this. Like one example I have given here. So, over the period of time, you look at the trend, but for UPSC purposes, we only look at these things. So, there are 2 things that you have to look for UPSC purpose. One is you have to look at last 5 to 10 years of performance, and one is you have to look at the performance of this year. So, if you just look at this cutoff on an average, you see it is declining. But when you look at in between, you will see up, up, up. It can be like this. So what you have to do for UPSC is, for UPSC purposes, you have to prepare last year performance. So for example, you are going to appear in UPSC next year 25. So we will look at 25 compared to 24, which means I will add if I were you, I will add 2025 here, and I will compare 25 versus 24 for UPSC. And there is one more comparison which we have to do, 25 versus last 5 years. So that if they ask us the trend, remember mains question, first question was in the bracket, they said, mention the trend. Specifically, they mentioned the word trend. So if they ask you trend, at least you will have to write 5 years. 5 years though is a must. If you write 10 years, it's great. But 5 years to 100% you have to write. But as I told you that let me do a few things and then we will come to other areas that you might have in mind. But pehle ye, have you written it? So let me move in sequence. So this part is done now. Now one important part which is left is this part. You remember, ये तो दिया था आपको. Yesterday I gave you this, where all the details were mentioned, who is releasing what figure. But we did not have a discussion of this, of course, because first I am teaching you this, फिर I'll come to all those parts. And इसका I gave you an example that IHS market was acquired by a company called S&P. So now hence we are writing these two together. And then I gave you one extra thing here called as HSBC, Flash Index. One extra thing we are calculating in India called HSBC, Flash Index. So we'll talk about it, but pehle let's talk about this Purchasing Managers Index. Now have a look at the board and please answer a question. Question number 1 for you. First question is, can you please tell me out of all these methods of finding the performance of industries, which method is very generic in nature? Please answer. ASI is the generic method. Awesome. How many types of industries are taken under ASI? First type, under which act? Second is? Third is special. Cigars, BD, etc. and electricity. Awesome. Done. Okay, now can you please tell me that which out of these indices measures the performance of industries after the production has taken place? IIP and? Obviously IIP and ICI. Alright, cool. So IIP and ICI, they measure after the performance has taken place. That's number 1. Who would be interested in quick estimates? Economy would be interested in estimates, but who are those specific people who want quick estimates? They can't wait for NSO. Foreign investors. And when a foreign investor comes to India, they have to take their first permission. I have not taught you this. So the first permission that every foreign investor has to take when they want to come to India is from only one department. The name of that department is DPIIT. So whenever a foreign investor wants to come to India, there is one department where they have to write a mail, and that department is fixed. The first permission you should get from DP. If DPIIT rejects you, you are a foreigner, gone. You cannot reapply for next 6 months. That's the rule. So if you are Mr. Bill Gates, you want to come to India, doesn't matter what type of money you are bringing. If you want to bring money to India for investment purpose, foreign investment, you have to write application to DPIIT and say, hey, I want to bring FDI, foreign direct investment to India. FDI matlab, I want to create a base in India. I'm interested in your country. And the moment you are interested in this country, FDI, foreign direct investment, your first application has to go to DPIIT. So don't you feel that DPIIT will always be restless? That, hey, give me the figure of performance of the industry. I have to attract foreign investors. DPIIT. So DPIIT says that, hello, Mr. IIP, NSO, you are doing all these calculations of IIP. Good, thank you so much. You are MOSPI, you have to do this. I am not an agency who is doing survey. DPIIT says, I am not into survey. I don't have that caliber because my job is management, my job is not research. So DPIIT tells NSO that whenever you are about to calculate this, 100% you have collected the data from all the sources, just give me your data source. To extract 40% data out of it, so just give me the data related to core industries. They borrow that from them. And after they borrow the data, because core industries data collection is done first. So that data is given to DPIIT, and now DPIIT becomes super rich and DPIIT says, rest I will do, thank you so much. Because calculation anybody can do. You put all the data in computer, computer will give you the calculation. So they have already collected the data. DPIIT says, please help, because I have to call foreign investors. That's my job. So please help me because I have to release these numbers before you. Hence, you have one body, which is DPIIT. That's your reason. Which means now you know one thing, and you are smart kids, that whenever FDI has to come to India, the first permission has to be taken from DPIIT. I said first. That means there must be somebody else. Logically think about it and tell me that if I'm a foreigner, I want to bring dollars to this, dollars, money, currency. And I want to come to this country. First permission I have taken from DPIIT. Second permission from? Obviously RBI. And parallel permission from SEBI. Parallel permission from SEBI. And if I'm coming from a very dangerous country, the country which India is not very friendly with, then which two ministries will also be involved? Home Ministry and Defense Ministry. So I have not taught foreign investment to you, and I'm going to teach it in a very systematic manner to you in a separate lecture. It will take 2-3 lectures separately. But then you got the first glimpse. You don't even need to read a textbook. You are a walking textbook now. You understand things. First application goes to DPIIT, second application goes to RBI. But do you think that foreign investor will directly write letters to RBI? Hello RBI, how are you doing? It's been long. If you don't do that, you give the application to DPIIT, DPIIT forwards the application to RBI. So it is DPIIT's job to forward the application to everyone. Oh wait, DPIIT is the major player, nodal agency. Right? So you get ideas like this only then. That DPIIT is the coordinating body which is nodal agency for FDI, foreign direct investment. But if somebody is casually coming to India, hey, I'm coming for fun. So would they contact DPIIT? Would they trouble DPIIT? No, you are coming for fun. Why will you contact DPIIT? Nobody comes for fun to India. Right? They come for money. So if somebody is coming to establish a factory, they inform DPIIT. If somebody is just coming to buy shares, bonds, etc., they just inform SEBI, not DPIIT. If you are interested in a factory, DPIIT. If you are just interested in coming to India and buying some shares, some bonds, just for investment, not for factories, then you need to inform only SEBI and RBI and done. No ministry, nothing else. Are you understanding this? But then Home Ministry and Defense Ministry have blacklisted some countries. And they have said that anybody coming from that country has to take permission from Home Ministry and Defense Ministry as well. So along with DPIIT, SEBI, etc., you have to take permission if your country's name is in the blacklist. Which means that you must be imagining all this, that there must be a flowchart. There must be a table that under this condition, this permission, this condition, this permission, this condition, this permission. Of course there is. But then you must have got a glimpse. And now you have some ideas in the mind. That why would DPIIT's name come in data collection? Because they are borrowing the data from here to promote foreign investment, hence they need these numbers. Come back. So guys, I asked you a question that which are the two indices which are being created after the production has happened? You gave a very good answer. You said that the two indices are IAP and ICI. Now I ask you another question. Which is that index or that method which is used before the production has started to find out how are the industries feeling today? It is PMI, Purchasing Managers Index. Wait, Purchasing Managers Index. I'm the manager of a company. Which company? Let's say Tata Automobiles. I'm the manager of a company, Tata Automobile. The government of India calls me and government of India tells me that, beta, how many orders are you expecting this month? I'll say, not too many orders. Then the government of India asks me that, how much steel did you purchase? Steel did you purchase? Why would I purchase steel? Because I have to convert steel into automobile. Purchasing managers. Then the government of India will ask me, how much electricity are you planning to use this month? I'll say, this unit. Then they will ask me, are you using any cement? I'll say, why? So government will say, just like that, tell me. Because if I'm using cement, that means I'm expanding my factory. And then government of India will ask me that, what is your order release time? I'll say, why? So government of India gets to know, if they ask me this question, that if somebody orders a vehicle to you, how much time do you need to release the vehicle? If I say that I need almost like 9 months, 10 months, it could mean two things. It could first mean that my vehicle is being liked by the people. And number two, the demand is high, supply is low. Supply is low. Some problem in the production. I'm not able to fulfill the demand. So government gets to know some problem is there. Which means the steel that is used by automobile industry, either it is in short supply or the factory size is small. And then the government of India will ask me another question. I'm Tata Automobile CEO. So government of India will ask me that, okay, tell me one thing. How much of automobile is already there in your factory, which is unsold? Inventory. I'll say 10,000. Not a good thing. That means people are not buying. That means some slowdown is there in the economy. Then the government of India will ask me that, are you doing any new recruitments? Are you hiring anybody new? Recently, are you planning? I'll say, no. Tell me, bad. Because if you are not hiring anybody, you are not expanding. That means economy is not doing that well. This is how they find out what is the expected performance of economy in future. which means production has not happened, but they are asking expectations, that what are you expecting, what are you expecting? This type of index, where these type of questions are asked, is called as Purchasing Managers Index. So now please don't write anything. Let me explain 2 more points, then I'll show you the technical part. Now imagine, guys, I am the manager of a company who is manufacturing something, like manufacturing the pen. So what will you call me? You will call me as manager of a manufacturing firm. So what does Government of India do? The Government of India says that manufacturing is also important, service is also important, and then Make in India. So this company called as S&P Global, they are saying that since India is giving importance to both, let us separately call manufacturing companies and separately call service companies. So these S&P Global, the analyst company, what they do is they make a list of top 500 companies of India, random list from different parts of India, and they make phone calls and they send questionnaires. They send emails to the managers of these companies by telling them that they are from S&P. When the mail reaches, all the questions are mentioned there with blank spaces for the answer, and the managers have to fill the answer. So all these 500 companies will send the answer through email. That answer is collected, and what kind of questions are asked? Various type of, like employment related, inventory related, whether you are purchasing raw material or not, this type of questions are asked. And then a score is calculated, and the score ranges from 0 to 100. If the score of a particular company is greater than 50, then we will say, wow, your performance is good. 50% above your performance is good. That means the company is in expansion mode. If the score is below 50, we will say, not a good performance, which means things are not okay. So we send these 500 questions to manufacturing companies, and what index do we calculate? We call it as Purchasing Managers Index for Manufacturing. And when we send 500 questions to service companies, ask the same question to them, that are you creating software? How many softwares is pending? Are you getting new demands? Have you hired new engineers? And then you create an index. It is called as Purchasing Managers Index for Service. And then what you do is combine them. Take a weighted average. That is called as Purchasing Managers Index General. So first you calculate for manufacturing, then services, merge them, call it general. You have 3 figures. So there is one company called HSBC. What did HSBC do? It said that why should I wait for this Purchasing Managers Index, because they give the data every month. They say that, okay, 500 companies. Why to wait? I will find a jugaad. Quick estimate. How do you find quick estimate? Don't talk to 500 companies. Talk to roughly around 300 companies. Quick estimate. Like ICI. Index of core industry, you just take 40% of here. So if you take 75 to 80% of the managers, suppose the list is of 500 managers related to manufacturing, 500 managers for services. Don't take 500 managers because they will take time to respond. You just contact roughly around 70% managers. So let's say you are talking about 350 managers or 300 managers, you send mail, not 500, just 300 managers. And you get a response, quick response, because everybody will take time to respond. But 300 managers, less time. 300, 350, get the response, calculate the score. That is called HSBC Flash Index. Flash Index, that's new. So how do we measure the performance of industries in India? Now if somebody will ask you the question, these are private agencies, this is not government, and rest all the things that you see is government. So in how many ways do you measure the performance of industries in India these days? So the industrial performance is measured using number 1, IIP, number 2, ICI. They are connected, they are brothers, twins, brothers, sisters. This is annual survey of industries. So this is yearly, this is monthly, this is monthly, this is monthly. And this is PMI, this is private. But if somebody will ask you that, which is the index which is measured before production takes place, PMI and Flash. If somebody will ask you which is that index which is measured after, then IB and ICI. And which is the most generic? It is this. Is Government of India involved here? Here, no. These are private. Government of India, DPIT has nothing to do with this. HSBC, Government of India has nothing to do with this. But government uses this. Because this S&P, they calculate this index not only for India, but for every country in the world. Whosoever is important, G20 countries, they go and they calculate. And they compare that which country is doing well. Ab dekho how dangerous they are, I'll tell you. I am S&P Global. one of the countries in the world, let's say European country, they pay me a lot of money, backdoor. And they tell me that, why don't you change the formula, or why don't you call those 500 CEOs of India who are very sadist people? I call all the saddest people of India. Send email to saddest managers who are always angry with the government, angry with the country. See, some people are inherently unhappy all the time. Even if God comes in front of them, they'll be unhappy that why did God come? If God doesn't come, they will say, why are you not coming? If it comes, they'll say, why did you come? Because now, whom will I wait for? Right? There are some people who will find faults in everything. I'm telling you, these are saddest people. So now suppose Germany tells this S&P that please find a list of all the saddest CEOs of India who are always angry with the country, no matter what. They have nothing to do with politicians, but they don't like India only. Right, so contact them and ask them how do they feel about industry and business. They will give you negative response, add the score and release the PMI. So what will be the value of PMI? Less than 50. Because they will always present a saddest picture, value judgment. And then S&P will be told that release that data for India to the foreign investors. Imagine what will happen now. That's why government of India is very upset and angry with these people. That you come to this country, you go everywhere, you do whatever you feel like, you select any 500 and you start doing this. There is no regulation. Because government can't regulate them, no. They are not government agencies. And if we start regulation, they will say democracy in danger. Right. So that's why all the political parties and governments of India, doesn't matter which political party, they have one complaint which is common and which is genuine. No political party in India likes them. Everybody says you are manipulators because we even don't know whom you are mailing. And what is your selection process? You only say 500, top 500. What is top 500? Which formula? At least under this IIP and ICI, we are using their contribution in GDP. That's the formula. What is your formula? And who told you to ask these kind of questions, that what is your feeling about India? Why will you ask these kind of questions? So, but since they calculate it for across the world, we also use them because they release the figures. It's a democratic country, we don't stop. Dare they go to China and ask these questions. They will not be able to come back. Right? So, what do they do for China? For China, they will send it to 4 or 5 people and say, we have sent it to 500. We don't know what they do. No idea. So don't take them very seriously. That's my point. If you are an IS officer, just look at them in the newspaper and say, yeah, I know who you are. Thank you so much for manipulating. For managing. So come back, please. Ab ye sab cheez I cannot write in the handout. You understand? No. My life will be in trouble. I can't write. Don't tell anybody that we do these things in the class also. So we write very polished things in the class. What is the sophisticated thing that we are going to write? I'll tell you. We'll write that PMI is a global index which is also calculated for India. It gives a good glimpse into the expectation of the managers about the economic conditions. Full stop. Right? So look at this. What are the type of questions which is asked to the managers? There are 5 types of questions, guys. Final thing. Of course, it can affect, your friend is saying, can it affect international relation? Of course. If India wants good relation with Italy, what will India do? India will tell S&P, that S&P please release good numbers for Italy. Right? Then we'll call Italy and say, see, what have we done? Right? Components of ICI is not dictated. But components of ICI, did you write? Components of core industries, you must have drawn a table of ICI, this component. Hai ye wala? This is the table. This is the only part. There is no dictation for this. You have to write this only. So, come to purchasing managers and see what I have done. Just let me show it for 1 minute, then I'll dictate. So see, what are the questions asked to managers? Are you getting new order? Are you going to produce output? Who will say I'm not going to produce output? Then what is the employment environment? Which means that are you going to employ people? How many people? Do you expect to employ? And then supplies delivery time. So for example, you must be buying raw material and you must be giving finished products. What is that time gap? So that is asked. And then you ask this question, that stock of items purchased. So suppose I am Tata Automobile and I have purchased tires from MRF. So they will ask a question that how many tires are lying in your factory which you are not using? Because if I am not using and I have the tires, that means I am not producing vehicles. So they will ask me these kind of questions. And the importance given to this question is 30%, to this is 25, 20, 15, 10. This is the importance. And then they combine it. And then they create an index which is called Purchasing Managers Index. Score 0 to 100. If the score is greater than 50, good performance. Score less than 50, bad performance. They calculate it for manufacturing and services, then they combine it and they call it as combined. So I want to show you something. ये देखिए. This I have taken from economic survey. So look at the performance of this purchasing managers index, April 23, May 24. Why May 24? Because the economic survey and the budget was released around July 23. So this data that the government collected was till May. Now, what is the value of the PMI? It's above 50. It's fluctuating, but above 50. So can you see this? Like this, which means that if I create a straight line, yeah, it looks decent because this is 57.2, so straight line is going up. This is 57.5. Trend is up. So we will say that, yes, the manufacturing and the service industry in last 1 year was hopeful. It doesn't mean great performance. It simply means okay, hopeful, that things will be okay one day. This is hope. But if the line would have been like this, we would have said, wow, that's great. But abhi currently it is hope. So that's one. And second is this. This I have created as the purchasing managers index trend. So see what happens to purchasing managers index trend. This is 50 wala line. And if you go by this, this will be the zero line. Sorry, yahan tak hai na, zero line. So this is 0, this is 50, and this is 100. So see what happened? It touched 0 during 2020. And nobody was hopeful. Right, big hunch. It's big, huge dip. During COVID, everybody was demotivated. And then again, it started to pick up. And then it's been like this. Hope, see hope, above 50. But I couldn't get the figure after this, so I have no idea. One figure I got from the survey, which is that it is moving around this only, but it's not going like this. It never went like this. So if somebody will ask you a question that what is the future of India's manufacturing services, etc., yeah, it's okay, not great. If you want to become a developed country, this has to jump. Or maybe election bias of the managers. We have no idea. That is also a problem. So we can't read too much into this. We just have to take it with a pinch of salt and say, it's okay. So guys, let's come back. Please write purchasing managers index. Purchasing managers index. Write it please. Purchasing managers index. Now please write that PMI is calculated for, देखिए बच्चों, PMI is calculated for number 1, manufacturing. Number 2, services. And number 3, general or combined. General or combined. Change the paragraph please and then write PMI gives an idea about the performance of manufacturing and services before the actual production hits the market. Please give another title, method to calculate PMI. Method to calculate PMI. Method to calculate PMI. Method to calculate PMI. Please write that questions are sent to around 500 managers. Around 500 managers related to number 1, new orders in the bracket 30%. New orders 30%. 30% is the weight. New orders 30%. output 25%. Number 2, output 25%. Output 25%. This is a weight, means importance. So out of 100, how much importance is given to this? Again, in this. So output 25%. Employment scenario 20%. Employment scenario 20%. Suppliers delivery time 15%. Suppliers delivery time 15%. Stock of items purchased 10%. Stock of items purchased 10%. Stock of items purchased 10%. So for example, let's say that I want to calculate your performance in UPSC. It is done in UPSC mains. So what they do is they will say that economics is an important subject. So UPSC will say that I am going to attach an importance of 40% to UPSC. In your entire subject, UPSC will have an importance of 40, which means when I calculate your average, so this is mathematics by the way, this is called as weighted average. So for example, if out of 100 in UPSC, you get in economics a score of 70. The importance given to it is 40%. So it will be 40 into 70. Plus, suppose there is a subject called as polity. It has 60% weight because economics has 40, polity has 60% weight, and you got a score of 80. So now if you want to find the weighted score of these two subjects, how will I calculate the numerator? This 40% would mean I will do 70 into 0.4. Bataiye, what is the answer? 7 into 4, 28. So your score is 28 actually in economics. And then what do? Weighted average. We have done this in standard 9th and 10th. That's it. That's the weight. So for example, this is 60%, which means 0.6 into 80. So that's your score. So your total score becomes, this percentage is converted into decimal multiplied by your score in the subject, decimal multiplied by your score in the subject. That is the meaning of weight. So what has these S&P done? S&P has randomly decided that I will give this importance to that. Random decision taken that according to me this is more important, this is, but everything I will decide. I'm S&P, right? I'm global. So, sorry? Means it happens. They will take your weighted average. And if you ask UPSC that please clarify, UPSC will tell you national security, we can't clarify. But they do it. What do you think they do in scaling? What do they do in scaling? They find out the weights and they try to do this mismatch balancing, but they never release the formula of how the scaling is done. We have no idea. So UPSC behaves like S&P. Right. So these are the weights. Weights ke liye, whenever we use weights in the class, now you should understand that we are converting into decimal and multiplying with the value. So these are the weights now. Change the paragraph please, and please write that the response of these questions are converted into a scorecard. In the scale of 0 to 100. The scale of 0 to 100. This will be asked in exam, bacho. In the scale of 0 to 100. Now, please put a full stop and write point number 1. Just below that, please write point number 1. If PMI is greater than 50, performance is good and industry is expanding. If you score 50% in UPSC, you top the exam, mind you. If PMI is greater than 50, this is real. You look at the score of toppers, around 50-55% top the exam. So if your PMI is greater than 50, the industry is doing good and it is in expansion mode, it is expanding. Number 2, if PMI is less than 50. PMI is less than 50, the economy or the industries are in in contraction mode. Are in contraction mode, which means things are falling down, falling apart. We are not happy, things are falling down. Next, please write a note. Acha, how many things we have written? We have written IAP, we have written ICI, and then we have written ASI, we have written this PMI, and the last one, please write HSBC. Note. In the note, please write extra. Don't write it as a separate point in the exam, write it as a note in the exam that we also do this. Because government is not saying it's a separate thing, government is saying it's a photocopy of this. So, please write HSBC flash PMI. HSBC flash PMI. That's the name. HSBC flash PMI. Please write. Under it, HSBC flash PMI. Under it, around 75 to 80%, around 75 to 80%, extra note, around 75 to 80% of the manager's response under S&P PMI, under S&P PMI is used to calculate a new index. To get quick estimate of the performance of industries. Of the performance of industries, called as HSBC index. What is this? You must have watched some reels. 5 minutes key to unlock the UPSC question. You know, in 2 minutes you get success in UPSC. Wait, that is that reel also. So if I ever make a reel like that, I'll put this in the reel. I'll put that in 30 seconds you get success in UPSC prelims. Because from this table I have always seen, always without any doubt, almost if you look at 9 years out of last 10 years, you will see question from this table in UPSC. Chalo dekhte hain what is this table, and this has to go in your data book. I told you that I have a gift for you towards the end. So the entire summary of all these things that we have done, which gives questions in the exam, is this part. So have a look at this, please. I have two options for you. Either you note it down in your data book, or I have another option. Another option will be that I give you this because I've already created your industry handout. I can attach this as the last page. Then you take the printout and you take a small printout, paste it in your data book. Paste, na? Paste it in data book. You thought there is an option. Let paste in the data book. You don't want to write it because you have to memorize this. If you write it, you will be able to memorize. At home, you will not write it. I know it. You won't get time to write. In the class, I can speak and you can write. It becomes an easy exercise. Let's do it, please. Let's make our hand dirty a little bit. In a different way. I'm not putting it in mud. Huh? Wapas aaiye. So what are we writing? Some important indices and related agencies. So what is the first one? WPI. Fadafat. Speed, please. Please write. Not carrying the data book? Yes? Likh lo data book mein. Open your data book, guys. In your data book, please write. Awesome. And to all of you who have joined the class just today, I'll tell you about what is data book, etc. So guys, note it down. This is your real thing. It will give you questions in the exam. This is the jugaad. So, WPI. Abhi just write, when I teach you inflation, I'll explain. So, who gives the data related to WPI? Number one, WPI. Please write. Office of Economic Advisor. This is important. You write it, please. Office of Economic Advisor, and then short form DPIIT. See, simple. Office of Economic Advisor. You can write point wise. Don't need to create a table, write point wise. Point wise. Point number one, WPI, Office of Economic Advisor, DPIIT. And in the bracket, what we'll write? MOCI, Ministry of Commerce and Industries. Ministry of Commerce and Industry. See, you will be able to memorize it. Okay, done. Number one. Number two. Please write CPI. CPI means Consumer Price Index. CPI, I'll teach you all this later. CPI, and then you put a dash. CPI dash, and then you write IW. What is IW? Industrial worker. CPI IW, comma AL, agricultural labor. And then put a comma RL, rural labor. Agricultural labor and rural labor. And see who is giving us the data? Labor Bureau. So wherever you see the word labor or worker, the jugaad is Labor Bureau. Labor Bureau. Ministry of Labor and Employment. Ministry of Labor and Employment. IW means industrial worker. Uska short form, industrial worker, IW. So industrial labor and rural labor, IW. Next one, please write CPI. CPI, put a dash, and please write rural, R for rural. You can write it like this: CPI, put a dash and write rural, comma urban. Just write R and U. Later on, when I teach you inflation, you will understand. So CPI, R means rural, comma U. U means urban. Then again put a comma, and then write combined. C for combined. Combined means you combine rural and urban. Combined. So CPI, rural, R, urban, combined. And in front of that, what will you write? NSO. NSO, see? MOSPI, NSO. NSO. So if somebody will ask you a question at who releases data related to consumer price index, don't give the answer. Ask a question to that person, which consumer price index do you want to know? Whether you want to know labor related or you want to know rural and urban related. Because labor related, Labor Bureau. Rural and urban related, it's NSO. Answer will be different. So if somebody randomly asks you a question, ask them, what do you exactly want to know? Labor or do you want to know rural urban? Answer is different. The next one, please write IIP. That's your favorite. You have already done that. Today you did a PhD. IIP. And in front of IIP, please write CSO. Specifically, please write CSO because I told you CSO and SSO, they are working under NSO. So you specifically mention CSO, IIP, CSO. And I gave you a jugaad last lecture that whenever the data collection is huge, full of headache, which agency is involved? NSSO. And when the data collection is done with limited numbers, CSO. When the concept is not very complicated, then you can use CSO. It's easy. So CSO, and then in the bracket, please write NSO because CSO is a part of NSO. So that's why in the bracket we have to write NSO. And then put a comma and write MOSPI. I hope that you remember this, guys. NSO is equal to CSO plus NSO. Don't forget this. Next, please write ICI. ICI mein you have to write again same Office of Economic Advisor. Remember Office of Economic Advisor. Office of Economic Advisor, WPI. Similarly, for ICI, Core Industries, Office of Economic Advisor, DPIIT. Office of Economic Advisor, DPIIT, Core Industries. And I gave you a
This meeting is being recorded.
So GDP, CSO, in the bracket NSO and MOSPI. NSO and MOSPI. And then you have PLFS. What is PLFS? Periodic Labor Force Survey. PLFS. Either it is very long term or it is very complicated. Because when you go to somebody, you ask this question to me, I'm from a rural area, I tell you, yes, I'm working, then you will know that cycle, maybe you will come and rob me. So when you ask this question to rural people, they're very simple people at heart. If you ask them, do you have money? Do you work? They will tell you no. Because their greatest asset is that radio and cycle which they want to protect, or the cattle. And if they reveal this answer, yes, I am working, they get very fearful. Tomorrow somebody will take my cow and goat and buffaloes. They don't want to give this answer. It's very complicated to go there and ask. So how do they ask this question? So these people, they go there and ask them. So PLFS team will go to rural area. I'll teach you this in employment, and they will ask the question. So how are you doing? Obviously they'll say good. Then they will say, so what is your son doing, daughter doing, wife doing? They will say, wife is in, doing agriculture. My son has gone out to play. My daughter is also doing something. She's playing with her friends. Then very quietly I'll say, can I have water? I'll have water. Water is what? Buying time. So I'll have water. Then I'll say that, yeah, it all looks very nice. Your house looks very nice. So did you paint it recently? They'll say, yeah, I painted it. And I'll say, it must have costed you. And no, not very costly. I just paid 1,000 rupees. Oh, that means you received your salary on time, no? And I'll say, yes, I did. Okay. That's your first answer. So now the person cannot lie. Now you will say, from where did you get your salary? That means you have been working. This is how data is collected. I remember that when I was in college, I got this training and I went to some places of India to conduct the survey. So I remember I'll tell you 2-3 places that I have been to conduct these kind of surveys. So one.
This meeting is being recorded.
Down into MP. And then I went to Bihar. And I went deep down into Bihar. There was a place in Bihar where it was affected by flood. It is still affected by flood. They sent me to the flood area. They said that you will learn more challenges. You'll learn how to face challenges in life. They sent me to the flood area, right? That Kosi belt. So amazing kind of experience when we speak to those people there. They are very simple people. When you go to rural areas, no, very, very interiors. They are very simple. You ask them a question that, what's your biggest property? They'll tell you radio. I remember that. I used to get these kind of answers. Then I used to say that, what's your biggest asset that you are protecting? So what is there hiding inside a bed cover? They used to cycle. I said, why? They said, somebody will come and take my cycle. Then how will I go to hospital, school, etc. Amazing, simple people. I mean, beautiful people, beautiful experience. So these kind of questions are asked by NSSO. They will ask you very simple things and they will take down the result. So NSO, Ministry of Statistics. But that's it. So this is your sheet which you have to memorize. You have to keep it in your data book. That's the summary of entire lecture. Ab bataiye, anything that troubled you other than memorization part? I know that will trouble you, but you come, huh? You get one yearly PMI, you get a monthly PMI also. The yearly PMI is an average of the monthly PMI. What else? No, it is meant for everyone, but also helps the foreign. It also helps. 100% yes. So for example, if I have to open a factory or your online friend mentioned something, so there is one friend of yours online, he was telling me, something interesting. He was telling me that, sir, so if you speak to your friend, if sometimes he can come offline and talk to you guys, so you will understand what he does is, he will tell you this, that before he buys the share of a company, he would look into all these indicators, GDP, employment, unemployment figures. He will look into these PMIs for manufacturing, services, general, IIP, ICI, HSBC flash index. He will look into all these things because it will give him an idea about which share to buy. So for example, let's say that core industries are not performing well. Will I invest in the share of automobile company? Why will I invest? Because I know that core industries are not doing well, which means there is no demand of iron, steel and cement, which means automobile industry's profit is not going to be high. I will not buy that. So there could be these kind of ways to understand the thing. So he will tell you and confirm you that if he's doing this or not. Okay, what is the meaning of before production hits the market under PMI? Very simple, Rajan. Before production hits the market means that you are a manager and I'm asking you a question that are you getting the supply of raw material in your factory? See, before the production hits the market, you have to respond to me, are you getting raw material? Are you going to give more employment? Because IIP is measured when production has happened. But all these other things like PMI is done before the production. is it updated on monthly magazine of Vajiram? Yes, yes, Priyanka, it is updated on monthly magazines of Vajiram. And Pankaj, what have you said? I do thoroughly and company also send me data. See, your friend is saying, Pankaj is saying that he does this kind of analysis and he says he also gets it from companies. Of course, if you have the share of a company, they will send you the data because you are one of the owners. What is IHS Market? IHS Market is that firm, that company which collects data and does the data analysis. IHS Market is just the name, a very attractive name, very odd name, just like S&P Global, similarly less like Tata's, like Mahindra's, similarly IHS Market. Right. So guys, ASI is released by which branch of this company, NSO or CSO? It's very simple. So you tell me, I have given you a jugaad. I am asking a question to you finally. Like only one question which I want to ask you today. That who will give you the data related to ASI? NSO is the perfect answer, but CSO or NSSO? There's your answer. Because I told you that you involve NSSO when getting answer is very difficult, complicated process, or 5 years, 10 years, something like this. So you think about it, you have your answer. PMI is calculated monthly, do they decide when to? Of course, yes, Rajan, yes. So every country releases ISI, yes. Absolutely, absolutely. Meaning of point to point. What is the meaning of point to point? Help your friend. When you measure the performance of something today compared to last year, that's point to point. Brilliant. And economic activity, anything that gives you some tangible returns. Manas, what have you asked? IIP and ICI, the items that are included in the basket, are they total production in the country? Not total production in the country, but this is the production by the company inside India. Company inside India, not outside India. I am following Vajiram recital. How do I make one pager of the recitals on current affairs? Please suggest. So guys, I strongly suggest that yesterday's video is already uploaded on the portal of Vajiram under the YouTube section playlist. If you go in the playlist called as Smart Current Affairs in Vajiram, so what you will do is you will get yesterday's video where I have taken some newspaper articles and I have explained how to make notes out of it. Step by step I have explained. It's almost like half an hour. A 35-40 minutes video, 45 minutes. You please watch it, and if you don't understand anything from there, you let me know about it tomorrow. Our live section. There would be different agencies involved because NSSO is not into any kind of thing which is only governance or polity based. There has to be an economic angle to it. So of course you will have to hire other agencies. So NSSO and CSO, their main function is either they will do the survey related to economics or they will do survey related to organized and unorganized. But if you want to bring them under governance, for example, either e-governance, limitation, etc., then you will have to hire other ministries and agencies as well.
What about the population?
Population, yes, they can do. NSSO will do the population. 100%, big country.
You can write NSO.
You can write NSO with answer. You will always get the answer. So I didn't get the PMI is calculated. Simple. So for example, every month I will call 500 managers and I will ask them those 5 questions and I will calculate PMI. That is how it is done. So who is saying that you are not able to manage your optional with GS? Devanshu, what happened? Tell me. What is troubling you? And so say it's a company, not the entire steel producer. No. Manas, it's all the steel producers. So we are taking steel as a sector. So what are you facing problem with? Devanshu, what is troubling you? GS with optional. I can suggest one thing to you that if I were you, what would I do? So for example, I'll invest almost like, let's say morning time you are giving me for economics. Any half a day after the class is over, any time, any slot of half an hour, you please spend in revising the economics part that we do in the class. Which means that practically 7:30 till let's say 11, by the time you are back to something else, it's 11. Half an hour again, whole day. So which means that you have again almost 8 hours. 8 hours that you can put in solid study throughout the day. Minimum 8 hours you can put. So in those 8 hours, I suggest that these days you please spend at least 4 hours in your optional because next year the prelims is little preponed. Which means that after the prelims, there will be huge rush of current affairs in your mind. Why? Because economics, survey, budget, last 1.5 years of current affairs, you'll have to do all those things immediately after prelims. So you will have so much of rush of doing things. No, in that time, if you try to do complete optional, there will be a big trouble. So I strongly suggest that if you are putting time these days, at least put 3 to 4 hours in optional, and remaining 4 hours that you are putting in, because you're already doing a big section called economics, and almost so many things related to society you will see in economics only. Agriculture you are handling with me. So big things you are already doing. So parallelly you are doing GS for prelims and mains, and one I'm telling you 3 to 4 hours of optional. So let's say 4 plus roughly around 4, 8. Roughly 8 hours you are putting in these things, or 7 hours every day. Now remaining 3 hours, because 10 hours has to be the time that you have to spend. If somebody is telling you hours don't matter, just study for 6 hours, that person is lying to you. Because if hours don't matter, then you tell me something. I'm asking you a counter question. If I would have taught the same thing in half an hour, I can, through a different method, right? I'll open up PPT and start reading it. In half an hour, lecture will be over. And then if you ask me that, sir, I didn't understand, I'll say hours don't matter. What matters is content. Really? What are we saying? Now, why are we even saying this? Why to lie to UPSC aspirants? So one should be very honest in this, confess honestly that, okay, hours do matter and it will take time. And I'm going to spend 9 to 10 hours in study. And if somebody tells you otherwise, trust me that this is not the truth and you are being played. So yes, hours do matter. For example, 3 to 4 hours are optional, and then 3 to 4 hours is here. And then remaining 3 to 4 hours, whatever you have, you please spend it in some GS part. And every week you divide the week into 3 days. So for example, Monday, Thursday and Saturday. So every week you give at least 2 hours on 3 days to do current affairs. So if you have joined a current affairs program, great. If you haven't joined the current affairs program, because if you feel that you can't attend so many classes, then the jugaad is Monday you sit at your home in the study table around 5 p.m. 5 to 7 you behave as if you have joined a class. Open your monthly magazine, open the last 3-4 days of newspaper, whatever is there, and see, look at the video I created yesterday, look at the video, and then you start making some running notes out of it. So Monday you do this, Thursday you do this, Saturday you do this, thrice a week you do this. Don't do it every day. Don't take overdose of current affairs. So 3 days you do and you are good to go. And since you are attending lectures with me, if you feel you don't want to do it on Monday, Thursday, etc., then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I am taking lectures. You do your current affairs on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 3 days a week also is good enough for you. This is how you can do it. So how? 500, just remember 500. That's it. 500 is fixed. It's fixed. Test is tomorrow. No, about the test I'll tell you tomorrow. After I give the handout, we will have a discussion tomorrow about the test part. So what have you asked under ASI, why we need the second one, factories are not registered? Simple, because Rajan, after 1948, we got a new rule called as Companies Act. So since you already have 2, 3, 4 rules of registration, so you have to bring everybody who is covered under this. So hence we got it, because we got a parallel legislation. So hence we had to give an opportunity to others who registered under different things. Is monthly magazine enough? Monthly magazine plus reading of at least 2 articles a day is compulsory according to me. Because I still, though I teach current affairs, but I'll honestly confess, and I have no shame in saying this, that there is no substitute of newspaper. Which is that every day, and I won't be biased in this, just because I teach current affairs doesn't mean that I'll keep saying everyone that newspaper is not important. That's a blatant lie. Newspaper is important, but if you have not joined a program, then you use newspaper to make notes. If you have joined a program, then you read newspaper just to be aware, like 2-3 articles, just to learn the art of writing. That you can learn through newspaper. So if you have joined a program in current affairs, then don't make notes out of it. If you haven't joined a program in current affairs, then use magazine as a base, read the newspaper, and if there is some exceptional article, some graph, etc., then you borrow it from the newspaper and put it inside your magazine. That is what you can do. But overdose, not a good thing. I am currently reading Hindu in great detail, meals would be good enough or not. Yes, SI, I believe that Vajiram recitals are good enough, and I'll tell you one advantage which I got from the recital. So this year, February, we started a batch for just prelims part of current affairs. I don't know if anybody of you were there. In the last lecture, I taught recitals there. Recitals, say one point I picked and I taught, that was the interest rate of India, liquidity adjustment facility, LAF. That I remember as the last lecture which I taught. It's there in the videos, you can check the handout also. I had picked it from Vajiram's recital and just taught it in the class by putting some more content from my side. And guess what? You saw a question in the prelims. I know many of you would have definitely been from that current affairs batch in the class. So if you remember the last lecture, it was on LAF only. So yes, these recitals do help you. You can keep these magazines as a standard magazine. I definitely tell you that use it. It helped me, it will help you. Can you please show the broad-based and use-based diagram once more? Definitely, why not? So guys, that's it for today. And tomorrow when we meet, we will start a new topic. The topic that I have in mind is for tomorrow. The topic I have in mind is trade or infrastructure, either of these two. And about the test part, I'll let you know tomorrow that what is my plan for test. See, normally I'm a believer of the fact that with class only test should happen. But then many of you online or offline raised one objection and you said, give us at least a day to revise so that we can perform well in the test. And I gave a thought to it and I realized that's also a good point. Because suppose I give you one day and I tell you, okay, revise in that day. And then you look at the content and maybe I give you a couple of questions, like 4 or 5 questions, and then I ask you 2 questions out of it. And then I give you standard answers also, that your answer should be of this quality. And if we do this in the exercise in the class itself, that okay, let's have a test, it will help you. So I want to give you some time. I'm thinking over it. So today also I'll think and tomorrow I'll let you know that how much time do I want to give you, because normally I don't give time. Normally the way I conduct classes like this, class immediately, fatafat MCQ, fatafat mains. But since you guys pointed out, a lot of you wrote this as a comment last time, so I took you seriously. So this time let me see, let me try it for at least 1 or 2 tests what you have suggested. If it works, great, otherwise my old formula. So tomorrow I'll let you know. So please choose Sunday or Saturday. This also many of your friends told me. But then I am telling you, let me see, because I have to ask Vajiram if the class is available or not. So let me see. Other factors also have to be taken into account. If test is conducted in the class, then we have 3 days a week to do other subjects. Oh, okay. Fine. I will think over it. That's a good suggestion. Because I want you guys to qualify UPSC. I don't want you guys to become economists. So I have that in mind. So economics content has to be given, solid content, we are already doing it. But then I have to make sure that your other subjects are also running parallelly and doing good. So let me plan something for you. But quality cannot be compromised. Like I cannot just stop the class halfway and then ask you to write answers. That's a very bad way of studying. It requires flow. So give me a day. Let me ask about infrastructure. Is it available? Let me keep these factors in mind. Let me plan out something for you. All right, guys, how to increase the retention? Because I forget 1 or 2 weeks. Very simple. Okay, so about the retention part, मुझे वो open करना ही पड़ेगा because I have 5 more minutes. Okay, I'll show you this. There is this solid thing that you can do. This is how I retain things. It helps me a lot. This is the lecture which I took yesterday. And in that lecture, what I have done is I have given this entire syllabus of UPSC GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4. And wherever I feel that an area is important for from current affairs perspective, in your GS paper 1, there are some areas which are important from current perspective, which means that questions will be asked which will be current in nature. I have highlighted them. So this is your entire GS 1. That handout is available on the portal in the YouTube video. So these parts require current affairs, and then I have given you an analysis that how many questions are asked from which section of GS paper 1, which part is current in nature, so that when you read newspaper and magazine, you can connect with it. That okay, if question is asked from here, I have to write some current affairs. So I have done this for GS paper 1, GS paper 2 also. See, a lot of yellows are there. And then I have done it for GS paper 3 also. That's your GS paper 3. Look at the current part. Almost this looks like a newspaper. So that's why I'm bringing a lot of current affairs also. So that's your GS paper 3. And then this was the part which I taught yesterday, where I informed that this is how you have to make notes out of newspaper. So if I were reading this, I will only underline these parts. And how would I know what to underline? For that, my static part has to be decent. If I have read inflation once, then I can tell you the trick that, okay, you underline these parts and this entire newspaper article can be converted into just these 4 points. Just these 4 points. This is your notes. And then one diagram. That's it. Now imagine your current affairs notebook where you read this article, converted the article into this bubble diagram, and then you wrote 3 points. Half a page done. If in future something new happens, I will just add one more bubble diagram here. I'll say complete. That's number one. Number two is, see, I have created another type of note. See, this is for GS paper 2. This says smart digital regulation soon, says Vaishnav, which is the minister has said that there is something called smart digital regulation. I read this entire article and then I could find something like this. This diagram I created out of the article. So if somebody is reading Digital India from the article, what are the important points I collected? Horizontal, vertical laws. Then I collected this artificial intelligence, cyber security and deep fake. And then I got this point, Digital India Act and Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. So if somebody is preparing Digital India and if I'm preparing current affairs, if I prepare notes on all these things, half page notes, my preparation of Digital India is complete. And Digital India is not economics. Who told you it's economics? It's governance. That's your Digital India and e-governance. So if I prepare small notes on all this, and how did I get the keywords? Everything is mentioned in this article, September 13. And what are the key points I noted from here? Look at the key points. So DIA, this, deepfake, e-governance and Digital India. Look at UPSC's 2024 question asked from current affairs. It says 2024 mains, e-governance is not just about the application of digital technology in service delivery, right? Then it says it is as much about the multifarious interactions of ensuring transparency and accountability. In this context, evaluate the role of interactive service model of e-governance. Interactive service model of e-governance. Where is it mentioned? Here. It is mentioned here. If you read this act, it is clearly mentioned there. That what is the interactive service model in e-governance, and to control that interactive service model, to anybody who studied this will be able to crack that question. So how to prepare current affairs? To prepare current affairs, don't copy things from here. You have to get the keywords and you have to create based on your own judgment, which you will learn over a period of time. You have to create these kind of diagrams. Once you create the diagram, then if I were you, how would I prepare notes? I will Google this or open the current affairs magazine and I will try to see if this is given in my magazine or my static notes or it is given on Google. I'll just create a half a page notes on this. That's it. Only half a page, not more than that. Because if you write bulky notes, it will become another article. So I will write half a page, half a page, half a page, half a page. Finished. Because there is a rule of newspaper. Whatever you read today, in a span of 2 to 3 months, same news in a different form will definitely come. So when this news is again coming in the newspaper after 2 to 3 months, I will enrich my notes. Every time it comes, I'll enrich. And a point will come in 6 months that I don't even need to enrich. I'll understand it and I'll say, I know it. But for that, you have to go through this stage. So that's another way of making notes. And then there is one article more, which I did, Make in India. And you will understand this, hence I'm opening it in front of you. There was this 10 years of Make in India. So when I read the article of 10 years of Make in India, anniversary celebration, etc., I was reading all the newspaper articles. I could convert the newspaper articles into this. And I read it like this. Make in India, what is newspaper telling me? Pillars. Then newspaper is telling me what is the aim. Then the newspaper is telling me what are the shortcomings. This is mentioned in the newspapers and suggestions. And the newspaper is saying achievement is to nothing. So what will I do if I'm making news from, I'm making notes from newspaper? So what will I do? This part, and this part, I will write from newspaper. And how will I write? For example, shortcomings. I'll put an arrow here and I will say number 1, employment. And some figures are there in the newspaper, I'll write it. Number 2, skill. I'll write some figures. So this box will be complete. Who will give me this box? Class. I have already given you this box. So you just need to write 1, 2, 3, 4 pillars. Done. This is how you complete the circle. How many times do you need to draw this circle? Once or twice in your entire UPSC cycle. That's it. Because why would you draw it all over again? You already drew it once. Maybe once more, your revision will be done. So every time you read a newspaper or an article, you please create something like this quickly without wasting time and then see how many different facets are there. And then from your static notes, please write some bullet points. This is revision, come connecting the current affairs with the static part. 2 things will happen if you do this. You will establish a connection between newspaper and the static part. And number 2, every time you do this, your revision of a static part, previous static part is being done automatically. You will never forget these things. So whenever I read an article, what is my first reaction? My first reaction is, wait, I don't want to make notes. I want to convert the entire article into this diagram. Then from my static notes, let me jot down some points and let me see which is the current part. This is the current part. Now I know, this is current. That's the connection. And then just jot down key points. If you follow this method, your notes will be less bulky. And even if you are doing magazine, this will help you. If you are doing newspaper, great. No newspaper, magazine only, even then great. So that's my suggestion. All right, try it. It's a new way of learning current affairs. If it works, let me know. If it doesn't, let me know. All right, so fine. You are going to do this economic. I'm doing much more than this with you. Right? When you read all your notes, once your lecture will be over, you will realize that you have done much more. Wherever required, we are already doing it. And frankly speaking, you have to learn to do all these things. Because I can hold your hand only for 4 months. And after that, if UPSC comes and attacks you, you have to develop your own wings to fly. And that is what any guardian wants. So don't worry, I'll give you those wings and we'll make sure that your wings are strong. So that later on, nobody can challenge you. So about the static parts that you have not done, for example, let's say under that digital part, no, e-governance part, that you have to Google and learn. So for example, this is GS paper 2. That's your GS paper 2. So suppose this part, static part, for some reason you have not been able to do. No problem, Google it, you'll find it. You'll find in 20 sources, select one source and make small notes out of it. That's good enough for you. Because I don't think that it is possible for any subject faculty who is teaching you GS, etc., to teach everything. Because the moment a topic is complete, something new will come. And perhaps they might have thought something is not important and now it has become important. So what should you do in that case? Don't wait for anybody. You are champs. You can create your own things. Hardly one paragraph. You can read and you can find. So if you are doing GS paper 2, if you are doing GS paper 1, and if you feel some shortcomings are there in your static notes, enrich it. Just write half a page, one paragraph. It should be good enough. From recitals, can I do charts as now I have mentioned? Yes, you can. From recitals or magazine, you can definitely do that. But learn this bubble chart. It helps. It helps a lot. Fine. So good day and see you then tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have a lot of talk. So thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. If we are doing smart classes, no, you don't need to do this, Devashish. We are already doing it in that case. All right. Thank you. Thank you.